Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the video. My name is TheParaFlyer. I'm here with my friends TheMixedRatkkuhn, Kaiparasite, and Corday. We are going to be doing a video on wrestling because I want to kind of build off the WrestleMania videos that we did and do some more for the future. So this will kind of be the starting point. Today we're going to all be naming our favorite wrestlers, A through Z. You can't duplicate. You can use really any iteration of their name as long as you've watched them during that time period and they're known for it. And you are allowed one golden letter, which allows you to put two people for that letter. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the letter A. And that one's going to start with you, Kuhn. What do you got for us?
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We gotta write them down. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna put mine down.
Yeah, that's the whole point of me getting
Yeah,
it
right.
down,
I
man.
forgot we're putting whiteboards, so we can't change our answer. Once we
Hopefully,
just locking it in
my
right here.
My handwriting is ass. I got it.
All right, Kuhn, what do you got for us?
Hopefully you can see it.
AJ Lee. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. All right. Good answer. Why did you put AJ Lee?
It's not really anything super crazy. He was like the first female wrestler that I actually really liked watching when I started watching wrestling. So it was between her and Ashley.
Yeah. I thought about putting Ashley on there,
But AJ Lee was like the first female wrestler that I was like, oh shit, that's cool, that's dope as fuck. And then obviously I have a lot of favorites nowadays.
all because of AJ Lee. Let's go.
That was like the turning point for the ladies division in WWE when all them started coming along.
Yeah.
She was well ahead of her time.
Yeah, she really was, because she didn't really have many people to wrestle that were on her level at that time.
No, not really. She was like head above heels of the women division.
I'm surprised she hasn't made a comeback, but never said
I would.
Have you seen the recent pictures? She looks buff nowadays.
Yeah, she still looks.
You could
really,
tear
really
someone
good.
up, man. Looks like she'd be in great ring shape.
It's been 33, I think, was the last one she was at. 30. No, the 31. Yeah, 31 was the last time she was a wrestler.
It was 31.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah. I feel like if she ever wanted to come back, the door would be open.
Especially because CM Punk's there. So, all right, Kai, what do you got for us?
I also went with an AJ, but a different AJ.
Ah, yes.
I went with Mr. Styles. I mean, what is there to say? He was the main man in TNA for years. Great New Japan run afterwards. Went up to WWE. We didn't think it would work. It ended up working out fantastically. Now, even though nowadays I think he's like 2 losses away from me calling him Finn Balor 2.0.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, I hate to see him losing as much as he does, but the man has been proven again and again that he's, there for whatever the company needs him there for, and he's always entertaining to watch.
He's one of those guys that he can take a loss and it doesn't do anything to his credibility because he's just done so much. So
yeah, I mean, he's come in, world champion everywhere he's been, and even at I think he's like what 45.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
He can still go. So
He's such a professional.
Yeah.
I'm glad he got his moment at the last pay-per-view when the whole crowd was cheering him on.
Yeah,
even though he's supposed to be the bad guy, they were giving him his flowers. That was cool.
So, that French crowd was amazing to hear.
Yeah. All right, Corday, what do you got for us on A?
Let's go. I agree.
Oh, another AJ Lee! Damn!
So,
Damn!
For me, I went AJ Lee because obviously, I'm on the younger end of the spectrum. I'm in my early 20s, so like growing up watching wrestling, that was like it's like a childhood crush, bro. So, and then the thing that I liked about her was like I liked the gimmick they was giving her with the whole like acting crazy and stuff like that. So it was like remember they had like the whole her CM Punk I did crazy chicks. But like just to touch up on like her actually wrestling, she was way above her time. She was a great wrestler. It just wasn't much competition for her at the time.
Yeah. I mean, when I look at her run, the back half is amazing. the beginning part to me, they misused her so bad. They try to
They
make her
did.
this girl that just is the side chick to everybody, somebody's girlfriend, blah blah blah, when she had so much in-ring potential. And again, at that
But
time there wasn't that many.
but once
So,
once they capitalized on it, they did a good job of it.
oh yeah, absolutely.
And not to ring on this too long, AJ Styles was in consideration for me, and whatchamacallit was in consideration too. Alberto Del Rio.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, no. Alberto Del Wanka, man.
I was a big Alberto Del Rio kid growing up.
Yeah.
Hey, seeing that limo come out, like Del Rio's entrance, it was good.
His theme song was so fired.
It really is. Yeah, it really is fire.
I
And it,
almost put my boy Adonis in there for the music.
okay, all right. Honestly, my God. The thing with Alberto is during the time period, it's very easy to look at him and be like, "Damn, he was one hell of a wrestler." But like, it's hard to look back at him in present day after all the things that he's done. But
It
if you put that stuff aside and you look at his in-ring work, he was a really good worker. So I could definitely see people putting up there. So. But-
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's just the present day stuff with them. Because nowadays you look at him and you're just like, oh no, not that guy.
Yeah, exactly. But he had a certain aura about him, especially like you said, his entrance, and
Dude, he had his own ring announcer.
yeah,
it was
he-
awesome.
yeah, fantastic stuff. So, well, I'm gonna round out the A's with another AJ, and I think it was pretty obvious we were going with AJ Styles here. I'm a big TNA Impact guy, so to see him in WWE was a little weird at first, but at the same time, I mean, this guy's done everything. The TNA World Championship, the IWGP World Champion. He was a big reason why the X Division popped off like it did. I started watching TNA for Kurt Angle. I stayed for AJ Styles. And can't forget his WWE Championship run against John Cena. And just everything that he's done, man. To be that good still to this day, to look at him like we just talked about the Backlash pay-per-view, to still be a main event guy that they can throw in and say, hey, our new champion needs somebody credible to wrestle, go out there, and he does it every time. I mean, that's AJ Styles, and hopefully he gets another run at this current time. Literally right now he's supposed to make an announcement on SmackDown, and I hope it's to go back home and wrestle my boy Moose for the World Championship in TNA. So we'll see.
Dude, can you imagine if
Oh.
AJ goes back to TNA? Oh,
I'll cry.
there'll be there'll be tears of joy.
Yep, with a tear in my eye, I will be watching that match. So, all right, so we round out the A's, all AJs on that one. 2 for Lee and 2 for Styles.
I'm happy I wasn't the only person that Lee.
I did not think of her, so I'm glad that you guys did.
That's the first person I thought of playing.
Yeah, so that was really good. So, all right, so we're gonna move on to B, and we'll have Kai start this one. Kai, what do you got for?
Got you, dude. I wrote down Batista, the
The
animal.
animal.
the animal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, dude, just absolute freak of nature. Was always fun, you know, watching mixed up in the ring. The entrance to this day, still fire.
His
You
theme
know, as a
song.
kid, just
Ooh.
Theme song is
Yeah.
hard.
To
Incredible
the-
theme.
Yeah,
I
dude.
love that.
And you know, he was just a fun guy to generally watch in the ring. He seems like he can mix it up with bigger guys, mix it up with smaller guys. The Batista bomb, awesome finisher.
Nobody does the sit down power bomb like him.
Oh yeah, no. And even nowadays, we still see him on the big screen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like he's really made a career outside of wrestling as well. But you know, I thought that was a hell of a name to put down for B.
When I think of the World Heavyweight title, he's one of the 3 people I think of
Yeah,
immediately.
back in those
so-
SmackDown days.
Yes, sir.
I was waiting for somebody to pick my boy Blue Tista.
Yeah, Blue Tees.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot about Blue Tista.
Yeah, he is. It's a great pick, honestly. Great pick. All right, Corday, what do you got for us, my man?
All right, we got the one behind the one. It's 21-1.
Oh,
Brock Lesnar. It was a hard decision. You know, growing up as a kid, it's like I had this weird hate for Brock Lesnar. Well, I'll reveal that later. But I had this big hate for Brock Lesnar. But as I got older and matured, I realized Brock Lesnar, you know, he does great work, believe it or not. And when there's a guy that he likes to work with, he shows it. Like there's so many guys that he's put over, if we're being honest, that you didn't realize at the time. But it's just his pure in-ring dominance. Not sure if we've seen another wrestler as dominant in the ring as Brock Lesnar. And he just has so many accomplishments.
He really does.
I think also with as dominant as Brock is, when he puts someone over, it means something because
It does.
not many people beat Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, if you're beating Brock
Even the
Lesnar, then
Undertaker.
the company really values you as the guy.
Exactly. So I think some people give hate to those wrestlers that don't like to put people over very often, or they, like in his case, he didn't wrestle a lot with the title belt. I think that during that time period, though, it also made the belt feel more special when it was on TV, because it's like, damn, this is the title belt. And when he does eventually put somebody over, like you said, that's your guy. If he's over here and he's laying down for everybody, it means a little bit less. But when you look at Brock Lesnar's resume of being an absolute beast and putting down competitor after competitor after competitor, when he finally loses, you're like, God damn, I got to pay attention to this new guy.
Obviously he had Paul Heyman in his corner, but people don't realize too, he did give us good characters, if that makes sense. Like you have the Beast Incarnate version of him, you have Cowboy Brock version of him, you have
Boombox Brock.
Boombox
Brock,
The
you have
best version.
Incarnate. So he did give us a lot of different characters.
Mm-hmm. Now, why did you say that you hated him? What was your reasoning for that?
That one, that one's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. You'll see why later on.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
I'll tell you the reason why I didn't like him when I was younger. I'll never forget. It was, I believe it was Kurt Angle in a steel cage, and Vince McMahon came out, and he had Brock Lesnar turn on Kurt Angle, and I was so sad, and I hated Brock Lesnar, and that hate continued on until he went to the UFC, and then I was like, you know what? We got a wrestler in UFC. I'm rooting for this guy, and then I heard him speak, and I was like, that's why Paul Heyman's supposed to be there. So,
See, it's crazy because my favorite iteration of Brock is 2002 Brock. I thought his first initial run, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from the way it ended.
Yeah. To me, it was just like, you and Kurt were best friends, and you turned on your best friend for the boss. Are you kidding me? And, the whole thing. But, Brock Lesnar is a big... I was interested to see if anyone put him on there, honestly.
And, sorry to hold y'all up. I know we're not trying to be long.
No,
I know
man.
I know it's kind of breaking the rules a little bit. I'm going to have like an honorable mention for all of them. My honorable mention, Bianca Belair.
That's a good.
That's a good one.
No, I have a couple honorable mentions too. So I don't think. Don't worry. But that is a good pick. She's one of the best out there right now. She's a tag team champion. So good pick.
Right.
No. Yeah, I'll say this. I've went to a few events. Bianca is always either the most over person on the show or very close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I've seen WWE.
And she has a banging theme song.
Mm-hmm.
All that thing.
I will say this too. Brock was close for me. I was tossing back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I was gonna pick Batista, but I thought about longevity and how long I've actually liked him as a character, and he just, because I stopped watching at a certain time period, I wasn't really big on him after his initial SmackDown run. So I went with somebody else who I think is one of the greatest champions of all time. I picked Becky Lynch. Becky, 2 belts right here.
That's a great pick.
I bought her Fortnite skin. I bought her Siege skin. I gotta put her on the list here, man. It's the first woman to ever main event WrestleMania with Charlotte and Ronda Rousey, the first to win both titles. I mean, she's one of the 4 horsewomen. I mean, even to this, she was just world champion a couple weeks ago. She's one of those people that you could put her in the main event at any given time, and it's gonna mean something. And that's why they gave her. Yeah, that's why they gave her the belts after Rhea Ripley got hurt, because they knew if they give Becky the belts, it'd be in good hands, and whoever beats her, which would have been Liv Morgan, it's gonna put her over. And she puts on great stuff. I've been a fan of Becky Lynch forever.
Becky's another one of those wrestlers where losses don't hurt her.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No, she can lose to... I mean, she even went to NXT, held that title, and she put over Lyra Valkyria, and now look at her. She was in the finals of the Queen of the Ring. So, a lot of things, most of the things that Becky touches turn to gold, and, one of my favorites of all time right here. Not a hard pick for me.
That NXT run last year was really good.
I really did like
She
that.
did a lot of good stuff down there.
Even with Tiffany Stratton when she took the belt off, look where Tiff is right now too. I'm not saying that she made those, but it gives them an extra boost when you go up
It gives
against
them
a
an extra
superstar.
boost in like value.
Exactly. And who better than Big Time Bex?
Who better? Yeah, who better than the ace of the division, man?
Exactly. And we'll see what happens. There's rumors, her contract's up. I think she's never leaving, but you just never
either.
know.
I think she's gonna take some time off. And
Yeah.
then...
Be a mom.
She's going to take time off. Seth just resigned, so she's going to resign too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, be a mom. Your husband just had surgery. Probably just like, I need to be here a little bit instead of on the road.
Yeah, and guess what happens when she comes back? She's gonna get a loud pop.
He's gonna get a massive pop.
Yep,
Yeah.
So, all right, Kuhn, round us out on the bees, my friend.
Well, I had to go with my favorite female wrestler in the modern day, Bailey.
Ah, yes, of course.
Ah, yes.
The hugger.
He's a hugger.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, I've liked everything Bailey's done from NXT, except for when we had her in the Karen gimmick. That was probably the worst thing ever.
There were some memorable moments.
There were some funny moments, but God, it was hard to get through those moments. But it's good to see her as champion again. Watching her NXT, watched her pretty much all the time. Like,
yeah.
This is one of the first people I found when I got back into wrestling. Like Caleb got me back into wrestling more. So
Hey, yeah, no, her, and like I said, now they're currently pushing her again. She's on her own again. Everything's looking up for Bailey.
It's great. It's great to see.
So can I ask you out of curiosity, was it always Bailey, or were you tossing it up between Bailey and Bobby?
There was Bobby as my honorable mention because Back to Business Bobby is a god.
Back to Business Bobby.
Bobby was on mine.
Yeah.
I had like 4 honorable mentions. Bobby was one of mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like, I asked him that because he does this thing where every time he sees him, he goes, "That's Back to Business Bobby."
Yeah, Back to
And when he
Business
sees
Bobby.
when he sees him with the Street Profits, he goes, "Oh, that's
Bobby's
and
boys."
Bobby's boys.
Yeah, Bobby and Bobby's
boys,
boys.
Man. And yeah, I've had the pleasure of being at some of Bailey's great matches. I was at the one where she fought Sasha Banks at TakeOver. That match, one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. I was at WrestleMania with Corday. We got to see her win the title. I even saw her. I didn't really. It's after time goes on, it's hard to kind of remember every single detail. But going back and watching WrestleMania 33, which is the other WrestleMania I went to, she actually won the Fatal 4-Way Eliminator against Charlotte. It was Charlotte, Nia Jax, and Sasha Banks. I think So she won. She went in as champion. She had beat Charlotte, I believe, a couple weeks prior at another pay-per-view. No, it was. I think she just beat her outright for the title. But then they went to WrestleMania. It was Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair. She won that match too to retain the title. So, like I said, I've been at a lot of really good Bailey matches. So I like that pick.
I just always think of when Bailey cashed in, like he won the briefcase and then cashed it in the same night.
Yeah. It's sad that trope has kind of been overplayed now, but
I will say, little spoiler. Old NXT does influence my list in some places. Good old Black and Gold.
Exactly. I love that.
And that's what I instantly think of when I think of Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my mind instantly.
I'd say the most underrated of the 4 horsewomen.
Oh yeah.
By far. All right, let's go ahead and move on to C. Corday, it's your letter.
Yes, sir. So for this one, I used my golden letter already.
Damn.
This is hard. I went CM Punk and Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
So I'll explain CM Punk first. I was always a big CM Punk guy. Back when before he had the tattoos, when he had the long hair, back to his debut, when he's like, I don't drink, I don't smoke. Like, I just always loved CM Punk. His work on the mic is phenomenal. Whether you like him or hate him, you have to admit, he's always going to draw a crowd because of the things he does in his personal life, the things he does inside of the ring, outside of the ring. And I've always liked, now that he's older, it's kind of come back to haunt him a little bit, but I've always loved his I don't care mentality. Like, think of the pipe bomb. Think of the things he's done in AEW. It's just the fact that he always says what he feel like he has to say, whether it's popular or not. I respect that he goes out there and says it. And he also put over great work. He had a championship run that was 434 days, where I feel like he shouldn't have lost that title to The Rock. But that's a different story for a different day. And then, not to be so long on it, but then going into Cody Rhodes, I've always been a fan of Cody Rhodes' work. I know most people might watch this and think this is recent because of the run he's on now, but I've always loved Cody Rhodes. Back when he was dashing Cody Rhodes, undashing Cody Rhodes, every theme song he's had, it's been amazing. I even liked his work at Stardust for a little bit. I liked his work at Stardust just because I was a Cody Rhodes fan. Like, people fail to realize he was a intercontinental champion and stuff before. Like, he's been mentioned the whole recently. He's a United States title away from being a WWE Grand Slam champion. And then I have respect for him for leaving WWE or whatever when it got rough and they weren't using him properly, going and help create this new company. And when he had creative, with AEW, he didn't try to put himself in a position of power or champion or none of that. No, he went out there and got it all on his own. And him coming back to finish the story in WWE and being a Rhodes with a world title is remarkable. Like, you have to give all respect to Cody, I feel like.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, he went out and changed the game, built his name up, changed the game. And, when he first became Stardust, that whole run with Goldust, that stuff was beautiful.
It was good. It was good when it was first good. It was good.
I think people forget that the Stardust character wasn't bad. It's that he did not want to do it. And he still gave his all while he was doing that gimmick. He didn't slack off or anything. He tried to put it over. He just knew that it was just never going to be a world champion gimmick.
You know what's one of my favorite Cody storylines that I feel like goes untalked about? Do you guys remember, I believe it was around the Authority era when he had a match with Randy Orton, and if he loses, he's fired?
Mm-hmm.
Was it
to me, that was like grade A story, like a grade A Cody Rhodes story for me.
Mm-hmm.
See, I always remember, I don't remember, like, it was the match was on SmackDown where, like, Randy busted him open. It was, like, legit hard way. They had, like, a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like at Cody Randy.
That's another thing I forgot. Legacy.
Cody Randy, Legacy.
Legacy.
Cody Rhodes work.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just a testament of who he is too, because when he helped create AEW, I mean, he specifically said and made that stipulation with MJF to never be world champion. Like you said, to not, overstep his boundaries and, put himself in too much of a position of power. So, I mean, it's Cody Rhodes. And fun fact, I actually call him Corday Rhodes at work, and his name in my phone is Dashing Corday Rhodes. So I'm glad you put him in there. And as far as the CM Punk stuff goes, as somebody who does not like CM Punk, I can say that no matter what he does and what he says, it gets people to tune in, even haters like me. So, like, he does something stupid and we'll hate on him or whatever, but then the next week we still fucking tune in to see what he has to say. So
when he came back on that episode of Rampage, I was literally tearing up, man.
Yeah, and
that was a moment.
For me, CM Punk, I just never really had a connection with him, but that moment right there, it's one of the best moments ever. Same with Survivor Series too, when he came back in Survivor Series.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, the pipe bomb, like, the pipe bomb changed everything, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so far, you guys are seeing, I'm kind of right now leaning more so towards the WWE or whatever. But CM Punk, like, even Ring of Honor, I was really young, but I did go back and watch some of his stuff. Like, I've always liked CM Punk. And then, like, with him and John Cena feuding, that entrance in Chicago, like, remarkable.
And his ECW run, too.
Were incredible.
Somewhere down here, I have the old CM Punk DVD, and somewhere in there, I actually have a Ring of Honor, like, best of Punk matches.
He can't forget.
Back in the day, I was such a big fan.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I wanted to see what this guy did before he was in WWE.
And you can't forget his ECW run. I know that ECW gets frowned upon, but that's kind of where he built his name in WWE. And he was World Heavyweight Champion before he became WWE Champion at Money in the Bank with John Cena.
Yeah, 2-time Money in the Bank winner.
Yeah, and I can't forget his AEW run. Like, I feel like we haven't really touched on it.
Yo,
Like,
that
his
We
feud
just
with
haven't touched on it.
MJF.
It was like a blur.
his
I
matches with MJF, man. Ooh.
I think his program with MJF was one of the best feuds, if not the best feud. There's a few others that could be
I
thrown in
think
there.
that's
But
in Punk's top 5 feuds.
solid one.
Oh yeah, by far that dog collar match was something else, and even the matches with John Moxley when he dropped the belt to John Moxley in like 2 minutes, I sit there shocked. I couldn't believe it, and then the fact that he came back and won it was
Like AJ Styles, Punk is another one who's held the main title in every company he's been in.
Mm-hmm. Except for one, TNA.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, before we move on, can I just
Sure.
say one thing about Cody? Give your flowers to Smoke and Mirrors at the Bangers.
Yeah, it really is a banger.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen this thing.
Yep. And you know what? I did say like to be a little bit short, but some of these you just can't. Like CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, like those guys have been around the company for a long time, and you know we have a lot of stories, whether you love them or hate them. So, you know, don't. I'm gonna go on a tangent right now. So before I reveal my C, this was hard because I love Cora Jade, but there's just no way that the longevity of this other person that I couldn't put them down and I couldn't use my golden letter. I had to put my TNA World Heavyweight Champion, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the greatest TNT champion of all time, the World Heavyweight Champion, ECW Champion, Intercontinental Champion, Christian, by God, Cage. God, this man to this day is somehow underrated. I don't get it. Like, I just named off a bunch of his accolades. That doesn't even touch on his stuff with Edge beforehand, all the tag team stuff that they did.
Captain Charisma.
Yep, the instant classic Christian Cage. I mean,
The Peep Show.
Dude, the Peeps. He is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I still like.
Yeah,
it's crazy
mine
to
too.
me that he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. And like, see, he's the first man to ever go from WWE to TNA. That was the first man to jump ship, the big name. And to this day, one of my favorite AEW matches of all time, and I still go back and watch like every couple months, is him versus Kenny Omega for the TNA title, the very first ever Rampage match. It hits me right here, especially knowing that he hadn't been in TNA for like a decade plus, and then after that happened, they gave him the belts and he came to TNA and he had another run there. I mean, and now his run now, him being the ultimate heel, the baddest bad guy ever. This man right here
He's everyone's father, man.
Yes, he is everyone's father. And again, I don't want to go too long on him, but like even his beginning stuff, like when I think of the Oval Intercontinental Championship belt, he's the first person that I think of. I loved Christian. This has been 20 something years now. I can't really touch too much on the stuff with Edge because I didn't watch back then. I kind of watched at the tail end of his first WWE stint. But even then, when he came back, the ECW Championship, when I think of that ugly silver belt, he's the first person that I think of with that too. So, and then seeing him win the world title when Edge got injured and was out retired. So
I was gonna say, I remember being gutted when Randy Orton beat him.
Yeah.
2 days later.
But he at least got to hold the belts. And the last thing I'll say in him too is I think a lot of people also take for granted and forget that he also had a career-ending injury and was not supposed to come back to wrestling. And he came back at the Royal Rumble, and that moment that he had with Edge in the ring together was it was fantastic.
Made it all the way to the Final Four.
So, my boy
I
right
love
here.
Christian's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He was on my honorable mention list.
Mm-hmm. Had to pick him, so I know you're loving that pick, Kuhn. What did you got down? You got Christian, right? That's what your pick is.
No. We already talked about this man. It's CM Punk.
Ah, yes, I see. CM Punk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you pretty much touched up on everything. CM Punk.
Yeah.
All I gotta add is that return, amazing. In AEW, amazing.
Oh yeah.
That was like CM Punk has such an aura about him, and I can watch him deal with anyone. He is just that entertaining.
I mean, you want to see him lose, you're gonna tune in. You want to see him win, you're gonna tune in. You see CM Punk's on the card, people are watching. So he is the draw for a reason. So
You know, CM Punk came to mind, and he's on the honorable mention list. But I literally made my profile picture in dedication to our greatest TNT champion of all time.
yes, sir. There he
Christian
is.
By God, Cage.
My boy.
I love how
dude.
I love how we had a split right down the middle.
Again, the A's and then
Yeah.
the C's now.
There was some names there, like Jericho was there, Punk was there, but I mean, I've loved Christian ever he's went. I love the Instant Classic run, the NWA Championship runs, coming back being the TNT champion, running the father gimmick, like the TLC stuff back in the '90s. Like everything he's done, I've been a fan of. I've always said he is the better half of Edge and Christian for me. And yeah, and you know, got to go see him live when he was TNA World Champion.
Oh, yeah, I did forget to bring that up. The three of us got to see him at Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
We did.
That was good
You
stuff.
know? Yeah, no, I love Christian Cage. And when I was thinking of C's, I was like, well, it's gotta be Christian Cage.
I love that answer, obviously. All right, so done with the C's, we're on to the D's. There was only 2 people that I could think of to put on here. And I think a lot of people probably thought I was going to put my boy Drew Galloway. But I actually went with another female. Her name is Deonna Purrazzo.
That doesn't surprise me.
I kind of switched last second because Drew was such a good pick, and the other one I think someone's gonna put him on here, so I don't want to talk about him too much. But I got to meet her in person. She's one of those people that didn't really get to see too much of their talent in WWE. Went to TNA and just exploded. I got to see her as, you know, the TNA Knockouts champion a couple times. She was the champ, the Reina de Reinas champion and the Ring of Honor champion against Roxanne Perez, or Roxy at the time. And now she's killing in AEW. Like I said, I got to meet her, and she's one of the reasons why we kind of kept watching TNA or Impact at the time. And Kai kind of put her onto me. And watching her in all her matches, she's definitely a star. So to see her in AEW now, immediately was in the title picture, doing stuff with Toni Storm and now Mariah May, Thunder Rosa. I mean, the fact that she's getting the respect that she so rightfully deserves, and that I told her that she did, is amazing. And especially because we had watched her AEW match for the Ring of Honor title when she dropped it to, I think it was Mercedes Martinez. And we were like, that's all she gets? No, that's ass. She deserves better than that. So now to see that she's getting that love is amazing. So Deonna,
the salt was there. We were like, he's in the main event. That's it.
Yeah, we looked at the time. We're like, it's 9:51 and she's just coming out. This is ass. So again, great wrestler, and she's only gonna get better from here. So all right, Cunard, what do you got for us at the D's?
I got none other than Dean Ambrose.
Ooh.
I like that one.
That is a good pick.
I like that one too.
I have to. The Shield are one of the big reasons why I got into WWE again in the first place. Because I just love the Shield. I've always loved the Shield. Even when everybody hated them, still like them myself.
He was United States champion, right?
He also
tag champs?
the United States Championship.
Like, was there ever a point when people hated the Shield?
I think towards the end of their run, people hated it. I think a lot of people...
I just always thought people just hated Roman.
No, I did hate the Shield in the beginning.
I've always liked the Shield and all 3.
But yeah, I just love the Shield. I love every single member. I loved how all of them carried themselves. They all carried themselves like stars, and they all obviously panned out to be stars. You have John Moxley in AEW now, doing great work. Doing his fucking death matches, bro.
Every time they need it.
Doing what he loves, man.
You know, when they did the Shield triple threat, which should have been at a Mania. No reason
Oh,
that
yeah.
wasn't at a Mania. But Ambrose was the one that won, that came out with the belt at the end of that.
And freaking yeah.
Can't forget
Don't
the
forget
day they
the
all
angle.
3 held the belt too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mix
And
the potted plant, man.
every time AEW needs a new champion, who do they give the belt to? Jon Moxley.
If stuff goes down the drain.
And who's
Hey,
our
look,
current
well, I was
IWGP
gonna
World
say,
Champion?
he's so reliable. He's currently the New Japan champion.
Yeah. And if you ever
I
need
love
blood,
how all 3 of them became like superstars in their own respective ways.
yeah, I had
It's
touched on this
amazing.
before, but before Roman lost the title, someone in the Shield had held. Oh, I guess Roman and Seth. Someone in the Shield had had a world title since 2020, and then 5 days later, Jon Moxley was IWGP World Championship. They're like, all right, wait, 5 days was long enough. Let's give him back another title. So I like that pick.
I have 2 honorable mentions. I have Dakota Kai and Daniel Bryan. Obviously, Daniel Bryan is amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like he has to be said.
One of these two right here has to put him on there.
he has my favorite match in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was it?
Versus MJF.
The
oh yeah,
no, honestly, my favorite one was the one where they ran the time limit.
Oh, the tie, yeah.
The tie was
okay,
so
the
badass
tie.
because it came out of nowhere. It was so good.
Yeah.
I just love that match.
Okay,
So,
what do you got for us?
I actually did the opposite of you, Para.
Oh,
I
really?
had Deanna, and I switched it.
Ah,
to Drew
yeah.
McIntyre.
My boy Drew Galloway.
Yeah, dude, just I like the Chosen One gimmick back in the day, but even when that went down, he was entertaining in 3-man band. Then he leaves, rebuilds himself, becomes Impact champion, comes back, gets his moment, holds that company up when there's no fans in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And now the work he's doing, the stuff he's doing with Punk is just phenomenal.
The Twitter stuff is funny.
Yeah, the Twitter stuff is funny.
Oh
The Stan parody had me dying. Like, everything he's doing right now is just on fire. And I thought about it, and I was like, I just enjoy Drew so much at this moment that that's who I have to put.
He could be our
And,
new World Heavyweight Champion.
Dude, if there's no way he loses in Scotland again, right? I could see a scenario where Punk screws him, and that's the SummerSlam match.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, shoot, everything he's doing right now is perfect. So whatever they do,
I prayed for this, and it happens.
yeah, dude, he's on fire right now. He's been on fire since about 2020. Like, he's just
I do
doing
think he is one of the
fantastic
most
work.
entertaining WWE members right now.
Mm-hmm.
Without question.
And the match quality is also right up there. That's the stuff with
Mhm.
Sheamus and Gunther, the stuff with Brock, the Rumble moment, like.
The stuff with Sheamus and Gunther again.
Yeah, I was gonna say last year's WrestleMania match is one of the best matches I've ever seen. With
And
those
for
three.
that, like I said, I have to shout out Deanna because that is my girl, and I had her, and this was one of the 2 changes where I was thinking about it, and I was
you know what? I'm glad
I
we
have to go
both
to Drew.
we both switched, so we both got to get we still gave them their flowers still, so it worked out. Oh, all right, Corday Rhodes, what do you got for us, bro?
So, I'll start by saying honorable mention. I did have Drew and I did have Dean both. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of crazy that we actually don't have Daniel Bryan because I went with. No, I'm just joking. I went with Daniel. Bryan.
Okay, I was gonna say somebody had to pick him, man.
Daniel Bryan is arguably the greatest wrestler in the world. Well, maybe one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Just a pure in-ring ability. But for me, one of the main reasons is obviously, as you guys could probably tell, I always grew up just being like a main WWE guy. But with AEW first created and they started getting all these stars and all that, Daniel Bryan was the one who actually made me like, okay, I'm about to start watching AEW a little bit. You mentioned a little bit of the work he did with MJF and stuff like that, great matches. But I always think of, I tell him at work all the time, I always think of just, if I could relive 2014 Yes Movement again, I would.
Yeah.
Like, that is grade A cinema storytelling, and where I honestly think that's one of the best stories WWE has ever told. Like the pure, you felt like the underdog whenever Daniel Bryan was on TV, and getting away from that a little bit. You know, he had his injury and whatever, had to retire. He came back. He still put on good matches. Before the retirement, he came back at WrestleMania 31 and won the ladder match for the Intercontinental title.
I love
And
that
then
match.
fast forward a couple years later, when he comes back, he turns heel, beats AJ Styles for the title on a random episode of SmackDown. I love that title run. I wish it lasted longer. It was just the fact that Kofi was so hot, you had to give it to him. But Daniel Bryan's heel work at that time was amazing. Calling the fans fickle
The
and
Eco
talking about
Champion.
pollution and all of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the championship belt was
Yeah.
awesome. I loved it.
It was. It really was. But that's all I'm gonna say for Bryan. I'm not trying to go too long. We've been going like crazy.
Yeah.
The Yes Movement stuff was amazing. If I could just like relive WrestleMania 30 again, to him beating Triple H, to winning the main event.
And for me, that WrestleMania in that storyline has a bit of like of a more like emotional like nostalgia feeling for me, because growing up as a kid I've always watched wrestling and stuff like that, but I was never, my parents would never give me the pay-per-views, and that SummerSlam was like one of the first pay-per-views I've ever like watched, and that WrestleMania was one of the first WrestleManias I actually remember like my parents ordering, so it was like just to be able to see that was actually amazing.
One of those moments you're definitely glad you caught live.
Exactly.
Over having to hear about it the next night on Raw.
Exactly.
I would say I don't remember too much of his WWE run because I didn't really watch too much, and then he retired and stuff like that. His AEW stuff, he's wrestling everybody. His match with Kenny Omega, the draw that they had, I think it was in New York, right? Was amazing. And then even his most recent match against that wank William Ospreay, that is probably match of the year. That match was absolutely ridiculous.
That match was
Holy
amazing.
moly. So the fact that he's still going strong even after that injury that he had, I'm glad someone put him on the list.
You throw Brian Danielson in a match with just about anyone, and I'm like, yo, I didn't know I needed that, but I see it now.
Yeah.
Like they just like the week for the pay-per-view, they had him fighting Satnam Singh, and I was like, I want to see where this is going.
He brings out the
just
best.
The visual.
If you put him in a match with Hornswoggle, it's going to be 5 stars.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember to compete with SmackDown one time, they did like a pre-show for Rampage. And on that pre-show, they put Minoru Suzuki versus Bryan Danielson. And I was like, oh, I have to watch this.
They just want to kill each other.
Yeah, I was like, they're going to just kill each other.
Before we move on, one of my favorite WWE Daniel Bryan matches is when he was Survivor Series, him and Brock Lesnar. That match was amazing. I thought it was going to be a squash match because of the way it started. And, his neck history, I really thought he died.
No one thought he had a chance. No one.
No one thought he had a chance. I legit thought he died taking all those suplexes. But that match was amazing. I actually rewatched that match not too long ago.
That was a fantastic match.
We didn't even mention Team Hell No.
I know, right?
The stuff with Kane was awesome.
And I didn't really watch back then, but his Ring of Honor stuff too. There's a reason why the Yes Movement happened, and the Ring of Honor stuff, his NXT run as well, when it was just a game show, and then up until now, I mean, the man's 5 stars all around. So, all right, we're done with the D's. We can move on to the E's.
Jesus.
What do you got for us, Kuhn?
Oh, fuck. Hold on. Yeah, write it.
Let's face it, we knew this wasn't going to take an hour. Hopes and dreams, man. We tried.
I got Edge, my boy.
Adam Copeland. Yes, I see.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to watch a lot of his stuff, in his prime and stuff, when it was relevant, obviously. But I have watched the matches like him versus Taker, him versus Foley, and all his stuff they did with Christian. I've always been a fan of Edge ever since I discovered him. I think he is arguably one of the best wrestlers that I've seen. He has the best spear ever. I'll give him that too. Well, his best, no,
It's unique. It's definitely different.
it's the best one, man. But I think my favorite moment is when he climbs the ladder with Christian there to get the title.
Oh, boy.
My favorite Edge moment off rip is the first Money in the Bank cash in.
Oh man, New Year's Revolution.
Yeah, iconic moment. Cena
was so
just
sad.
got done defending, and because we'd never seen it before, so he
Yeah.
comes out with the briefcase and he's just like, "I'm cashing in."
It's so
and he
unique.
Goes down and spears him, and yeah,
Because Vince McMahon comes out and announces it. You don't get that anymore, right?
well, you know,
You really don't.
no, you don't. And it's like at the time, he just took like we already were like, oh man, this guy's sleazy, and then he just takes it up to a whole nother level.
The ultimate
Oh.
opportunist.
Yeah.
I meant second best spear ever. Actually.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Forgot.
Glad you backtracked on that one.
Yeah, I have to clarify second best. spear.
I'll say one last thing about Edge. If you would have told me he'd still be going at this age, because like since he's went to AEW, I don't know why WWE didn't want to use him as much, but since he's been there, he has been wrestling like every 2 weeks or so. I mean, it sucks that he just recently got hurt, but I didn't think I'd see him going nearly as hard as he's going at 50,
Also-
51, however old he is. But he's been doing really good work, especially recently.
His return at the Rumble, fucking amazing. His work with Roman, where he fucking took the metal bar.
Oh yeah, the crossface with the bar.
Yeah, that was amazing. Those are probably some of my favorite moments.
And he made the
Wrestling,
concerto famous too.
That
Fucking godly.
that Rumble return. I
That
used
Rumble
to work with the
return
buddy.
chills.
Mhm.
Yeah, no chills. I used to we used to work with the guy, and me and him were talking about it, and he's like, it was cool, it was emotional. But I look and I just see age. I was like, we're getting old, man.
Yeah.
But no, hell of a moment. I still get chills when I watch that moment back.
Yeah.
You could just see the emotion on his face, like, oh, I'm actually back.
He should have won that Rumble. I don't care what anybody says. He should have won
Oh,
that
he-
Rumble.
Would have been a heck of a moment.
Who
to
won
see
the
him win
Rumble that year?
Was that the
Was that
Drew
Drew?
year? Or was that the Brock
Was it
year?
Drew?
I want to say
It
that
was
was the
Drew,
Drew
right?
year.
Oh,
I think that was the Drew year.
this was 2020, which was right
Yeah,
before.
it was true.
Yeah,
It was right
true.
before the pandemic.
Yeah, it was true.
I mean, hey, Edge did go on to win the Rumble the next year,
Yeah,
and he went wire to wire to do it.
yeah. All right, Kai, what do you got for E?
So I actually didn't even think of Edge. Having
Oh wow.
all the E's I thought of,
Yeah,
I was like,
boy.
damn. All the E's I thought of, right, was like
He knows him as Adam
people on
Copeland.
this list. So I put Eddie Guerrero,
Ah,
Eddie
yes.
G.
I was hoping
Uh,
somebody had, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just I always think of him beating Brock. The
No Way
Goldberg
Out.
instance, yeah, and even though it's kind of down in infamy now, the like emotional ending to WrestleMania 20.
With
Thank you.
Chris Benoit,
Yeah.
with the
Like,
confetti coming down and everything.
Mm-hmm. Gave us a lot of great moments. One of the most entertaining gimmicks around. Even to this day, you still see his influence on the industry as a whole. And yeah. And Eddie was the man.
I just
Tag
recently,
work to singles work.
I recently saw one of his skits where he faked an injury, and he had a doctor checking him out. He was with the nurse, and then Batista comes in, and he's like, "Yo, oh no, my tummy." He's like, "Okay, I got a doctor." And the doctor bends him over and does the thing with the glove.
I remember that.
Yeah, everything he does is just so funny. You watch
I
it today,
always
it's hilarious.
think of. Did y'all ever see the SummerSlam skit
You have to
where-
remind me. Yeah.
where they're like on the running track?
Oh
And
yeah,
they're, like,
yeah,
"Get
yeah.
ready to do the race." And he
Yeah.
like glued all their shoes down. And he gets up and starts
Yeah.
walking, and they're like, "Oh, that damn Eddie Guerrero has cheated again."
Yeah.
Wasn't Eddie the one with the chair when he like hit it? And
Yeah,
then
he
threw it
would
up?
throw it and
Yeah.
throw it at
Uh-huh.
them, and then
That's
pick
where,
an
that's
injury.
where it
Yeah.
came from.
God, I remember when he tried to do that to Rey Mysterio, and Rey threw it back, and the ref turned around. Oh no, he was pointing at Rey, and Eddie's like laughing, going like this, and the ref turns around and sees him like doing that.
Yo,
So
when
funny.
whenever I hear Eddie Guerrero's name, the first thing I think of, and I miss this version of WWE, bro, they fucking had him in a match with Rey Mysterio for the custody of Dom, bro. Like,
Yep,
that
the
is
ladder
crazy.
match.
We're gonna get that again.
Yeah,
for
part
Rhea
2.
and Liv.
Part 2.
Long-term storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, and it was always cool to see him come out in the lowrider. That was just a cool entrance. And that's not even to mention his cruiserweight work back in the WCW days. Like, truly just an awesome talent.
I cried for like 4 days when he died, and I'll always remember the Three Doors Down song. That every time it plays at work and I hear it, and I instantly just think of Eddie Guerrero.
Just think
every
of
time I
Eddie.
hear it. Yeah. So the fact that that was nearly 20 years ago is crazy, and that he still has that impact today, on people is it just shows you how great of a wrestler he was. So yeah. All right. Go, Mr. Corday, what you got for us?
So I don't know if you guys noticed, I've been quiet. I put Edge too.
Yeah.
You hit
Oh,
everything.
hell yeah.
You hit everything perfectly. That's why I was so quiet. I'm like, oh, he took Edge, and I have nothing left to say. So only thing I'll add in that you didn't say is top tier theme song.
Oh
That-
yes. Oh yes.
I know.
Absolutely.
Top tier theme song, bro. And nah, I'll say that for later.
Okay. Oh, he's got
Boy,
some
if I say it now.
got some stuff for later. All right.
I'll save that for later. But it does involve Edge. I'll just save it for later.
Gotcha. All right, so I'll round out the E's. I thought about putting Edge, and the only reason I didn't is because I had to be honest with myself. Back in like the 2000s era, I hated Edge. I hated every time he fought John Cena because I was a big John Cena guy. I hated Edge, bro. That man.
Realize if a person is a heel and they make you actually hate them, they're doing good.
Yeah, exactly. And I despised Edge. That stupid live sex celebration, I was heated because he had won the title, bro. When he cashed in Money in the Break at New Year's Revolution, I was heated. When I think he won the title against Undertaker, was it? Did he cash in on Undertaker the second time or something like that?
Yeah, I think
Right?
it was Undertaker.
On SmackDown or something. I was pissed. I was like, bro, this guy's got to stop doing this. Someone stop him, bro. So for a long time, I did not like Edge. Now that I look back on it, obviously I appreciate everything, but for a long time I didn't like him. So I'm not going to sit here and try to act like a bandwagon fan and everything like that. So I went with the TNA guy, my boy, Eric Young. This man has been around for a long time. He's put the company on his back. When he won the world title, it was just a feel-good moment. The fact that he's been in NXT and WWE a couple times and it hasn't panned out kind of sucks, because he's definitely deserved more of the main event caliber after all the things he's done with TNA. And the fact that he's come back. I remember when he was doing that stuff with Violent by Design and they literally killed him off. Because you don't see that in wrestling. They actually killed him. And then he got released. They said, well, he's got to come back. But how the fuck are they going to do this? And they somehow pulled it off. Team Canada stuff and everything that he's done there. I mean, my boy EY, I had to put him on here. The other person I was going to put on here that was so close to putting over him was EC3. But I had to go with Eric Young on this one.
So, when I think of Eric Young, I always think of his comedy stuff.
Yeah.
Super Eric, the scared gimmick. Like, I love Eric Young. I'll tell you,
He's
I
amazing.
almost went EC3 as well. The other name I almost went with was another TNA alumni. I almost put Ethan Page down.
Yes.
But I was
Ethan
like, man, he
Page.
just hasn't done like anything relevant in so long. I'm hoping that's gonna change under the NXT banner. But yeah, no, Eric Young, big. Wasn't a
one
name
of the
that came
TNA
up
originals.
at the time, but yeah, I always think of his comedy stuff. Team Canada, Super Eric, the scared gimmick, like stuff like that.
And a lot of my picks, I'll say too, you'll see it. Longevity definitely plays a part. So somebody that I've recently liked or something like that, sometimes I just have to go with the person I've liked longer. So having someone like Eric Young on here, I mean, big shout out to him. So, all right. So I think this one should get interesting as we move on to the Fs. I think it's Kai's turn, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm gonna be real with you here. I kind of threw down a name for historical reference. Because when I thought of F, I thought of Finn Balor.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Finn, but that man's a walking, talking pen. Like, if he's not in NXT, they're pinning him.
Yeah.
So I actually went with Farouk.
Ooh, I like
That's
that.
a good one.
You know, it's good to still see Ron Simmons nowadays come back and do the damn gimmick. Just from a historical standpoint, you know, from his WCW days where he became world champion.
The
I
first black
obviously was
champion, I
first
believe.
first black champion, yeah.
Mhm.
From a historical standpoint. Then later on in his WWE days, like Nation of Domination, I do remember that obviously. Um,
And you can't forget the
you know,
APA.
the start of the Rock's career, yeah. And then the APA. See, that was when I really started watching was APA time.
Yeah.
And it was always fun to see the skits going on. It was always fun to see the chemistry between him and old JBL Bradshaw. But yeah, no, the Acolytes were always a fun team to watch. It's still good to see him around nowadays, doing well, doing the cameo appearances. And you know, if you've seen Farouk in the ring, you always knew whoever he was fighting was getting beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just didn't mess with Farouk. I felt like, you know, he played that character so well on TV that you know, if you've seen Farouk in the match, you're like, okay, this is gonna be a hard-hitting match. And you know, so I couldn't think of a lot for F, so we did a little shout out there.
I like that pick. I really like the skits too. Them always playing poker, and they have the door. you have to go through the door because if you went around, they would look at you and make you go walk back and go through the door.
So I can explain this. They'd have an office and it'd be a door, but there wouldn't be any walls around it.
Yeah.
It'd just be a door, and they'd be sitting there playing poker.
Oh,
And you had to,
yeah.
When you hired them, you had to walk in the door,
and it's
and
just
then play poker with them and pay them cash.
Yeah, and it shows you their aura too because they had that gimmick of being, you hire them so they beat people up. So like within a couple weeks, you know that these guys are mean business, and that you know when you're watching them, you know it's beating them up time. So I love that pick with Farouk.
And I always think of the Acolytes theme, the da 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 da.
Fantastic. All right, what do you got for us, Corday?
I want my boy Fandango.
Oh, Dirty Dango.
I'm joking. I went Finn Balor. What F? I kind of struggled. I really did think Fandango. I actually really did. But I went with Finn Balor just based off of his New Japan and NXT work, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, nowadays he's just a walking hell. I don't know if you guys see, I put one day champion right there. Because him getting hurt, honestly, I feel like is what really messed up a lot of like his momentum leading into today. I feel like that's a butterfly effect of if he doesn't get hurt, what is the present looking like for Finn Balor? He deserves a title, man. I really want him to get a title. He deserves it. And the thing I will say about him, even with him being the walking pin, though, he still shows up weekly and put on good matches, bro. Like Finn Balor, he's a true professional. He really is.
Mm-hmm.
But his NXT work, man, the Demon, him being the NXT champion, even when he went back to NXT the second time, it was great. Like Finn Balor's amazing, bro.
Last year when he was fighting Seth, and this became a trend with Seth, I always wanted to see who fought him, beat him for the belt. And I was like, yo, are they gonna give Finn Balor the belt? I legit thought they were going to.
Yeah, me too.
And then they just never did.
I'm going to piggyback off you because I also picked Finn Balor. The first time I ever saw him was it was the first time NXT ever toured. They were in Philadelphia, and I got to see him legitimately super up close in his demon outfit, and I was hooked immediately. He puts on great matches. I was actually at his at the SummerSlam where he won the Universal title against Seth Rollins, and then was subsequently injured. But to be the first ever Universal Champion kind of shows you the direction that they were going to go in. Like you said, it's kind of just a butterfly effect. And I waited and waited and waited for them to bring that up again to get a chance at the Universal title. And they did it with Roman Reigns. And then they ruined it by doing the top
finish
ropes.
That we got.
But the demon is just an aura that when you have to fight the demon Finn Balor, you know you're in for a big time fight. Even that match against Edge, last year's WrestleMania, that Hell in a Cell match was amazing, and that's including him getting hit in the head and gushing blood. You know, I think he should have won that match,
He should
but
have won that match.
but again, I think he's at this
Should have
point.
won a lot of matches.
Yeah, he's at this point in his career though where I don't think he really has lost his aura, and he hasn't. You haven't seen the demon since then, where you could bring it back out and it's a whole different character. You could put him in the world title picture as the demon tomorrow, and people would buy into it. And like you said, the Seth Rollins World Heavyweight Championship match too is like, he's kind of like AJ Styles, where you could really throw him in there to be a legitimate contender for the title. So, are we gonna see it again? I don't know. You have
I'm
stuff,
hoping
but
once the Judgment Day split happens,
Yeah.
it's going to happen at some point.
but let's not
I'm
forget.
hoping that he goes back to being like a relevant singles act.
Yes,
He's one of the few guys who can take loss after loss, pin after pin, and he still has that superstar aura around him. Like, you look at him and you're like, oh, he's a star. And you want to root for him.
Yeah, and his theme song, bro. I fucking love his old theme song. NXT,
I
the
want
whole
him to bring it
crowd.
back.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah,
crowd
no.
doing that is like, it's a
When
spectacle.
Judgment Day splits, they have to bring that theme back.
That
Yeah.
amazing visual.
Yep.
They brought it back for Mania.
Yep, and
I
I
haven't seen it since.
tear down my eye would have happened, because I have been in the crowd multiple times. I've been to a bunch of takeovers where, you know, he comes out and we do that, and it's just different.
Do you remember when he went back to NXT and won
Oh,
the
yeah.
belt again?
Yeah, and the whole Adam Cole stuff. Like, I didn't even touch on his
Mhm.
NXT stuff really, but I've seen, like I said, I've been to a few Brooklyn takeovers and whatnot. He put on fantastic matches there, and the man deserves a title run. Even if you give him like an Intercontinental Championship, like, I don't think he's had a singles title aside from the Universal one and obviously the NXT. I don't remember off the top of my head, but like, with the way the Intercontinental title is kind of
Had to have
pushing
a
up.
title.
I know
Yeah.
he's been in like IC matches, but I don't
Yeah.
think he's ever won one of them.
Yeah, so it's
Because I
not
remember
funny.
there was a Mania where it was him, Rollins,
Hill,
and
Miz, and
Miz. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like,
That's the year Miz had it and Seth took it from Miz. It opened the show.
yeah. So like,
Damn good match.
I kind of want to see him with the singles title, and again with the Intercontinental title being pushed up higher up on the list of relevancy now, it could mean something for him to win that. So, and let's not
If
forget
he
too,
was,
he was still
if he was
undisputed
the,
tag champion.
If he was the one to dethrone Sammy, would you be happy with
I
it?
think I would be. Yeah.
I would be too.
Even though I think Chad Gable needs to be the one, I still would not be mad if Finn Balor was.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What do you got for us, Kuhn?
Well, it was hard to think about besides Finn Balor, obviously. I was like, I know somebody else is going to Finn Balor, and I know he's a jobber. So I decided to go with somebody who I think, in their respective brand, is my favorite tag team performer. And I went with Phoenix from AEW.
Ah, I see. Ray Phoenix.
Yeah, just from a pure like in-ring ability, I'm always hooked watching matches that he's in.
He
So
is so underrated, man.
he is insanely underrated. I love seeing him in the title picture, tag titles. I love watching him fight in any match. His matches with the Young Bucks, his matches with fucking the Clay and all of them,
I always instantly think of his match with Kenny.
his match with Kenny, yeah.
Is he injured right now?
He recently came back. He was at the
Okay.
pay-per-view.
Okay.
They ran Death Triangle against the Bang Bang Gang.
Oh yeah, that's right, man.
But
Hey,
yeah,
that's a great
Phoenix is
pick,
underrated
man.
as hell.
He really
I think. I think I really want to see him get a singles run at some point,
Mhm.
like a good singles run. But obviously, there's a lot of talent there, so who knows what'll happen.
I also think of Young Bucks Lucha Bros, the cage match.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he gets fucking kicked in the face with the thumbtacks, bro.
Yup.
Or like the exploding fucking kick. Was that?
Yeah. And he's
They
had
had-
some battles with Penta too. I didn't know
Young
that.
Bucks and fucking the Lucha Bros.
Oh
They
yeah,
Had
didn't
some of the best matches in AEW history.
didn't I don't know if I've ever seen a match. I know him and Penta. Didn't they fight in TNA for the belt?
I think they fought in TNA and in
and it was,
AAA.
and I know they had a triple threat for the belt as well.
Yeah. Like, they're a fantastic tag team, but they've beaten the fuck out of each other, too. So, like, I do really like that pick with Ray Phoenix, so.
Yeah, I decided to deviate away from WWE and go with one of my boys.
I like that. I like that. All right, on to G. I think it's Corday that's up for G.
All right, so
Who did
in
I
a short
put?
time, Gunter, man. In a short time, he's become honestly one of my favorites of all time. The ring general, man, he just puts on amazing work on the mic, in the ring. His moveset, his dominance. There's nothing he can't do. A dominant champion, one of the longest. Was he the longest? How long was he?
He's the longest reigning.
Yeah,
Intercontinental
He is the longest, right?
Yeah, he beat Honky Tonk
Longest
Man's record.
intercontinental title champion of all time. Got to see him perform live at Mania, even though it was a loss. And then now he's right back. It's crazy. He lost his title just to be in the main title picture where we all think he's eventually going to win it. Or at least I think he's on the trajectory to win it. And the thing about him is, like, he doesn't have the typical, like, wrestling frame if you look at it. If you look at him, he's a big guy who looks like, I don't want to say sloppy, but he looks unorthodox. But his maneuvers inside the ring is amazing. I think this is a guy who is really going to be, like, the face of the company, like, for a long time. Gunter's amazing.
Yeah, that's not even counting his stuff as Walter in NXT.
It's not at all.
And the independent scene. Whew.
I
He
remember.
put on one of the best matches I've ever seen as Walter in NXT.
Against Ilya Dragunov.
Yeah, I think we were about to go to the same thing.
Both times, fucking 5-star matches.
Everyone is waiting for that rematch.
Amazing.
I don't want them to
Absolute
do it.
perfection.
I don't want them to do it yet. I want them to wait
I
until
want
it
them to
means
wait a
something.
while, yeah.
Yeah.
I want them to wait.
I'll say this: if they would have done it in the King of the Ring tournament, it would have felt like a waste.
Yeah. If it was at the finals, like that in Saudi Arabia, I think it would have been okay. But like a second round matchup, no, you can't. They deserve better. Like, I'm thinking vacant World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania where you don't know who's going to win. That's what I want from them. Because right now, Ilya's not at that point on the main roster, like, respect-wise. We know he could go and he could be a great world champion. But, like, Gunther's run on Intercontinental Champion has put him all the way up here. We need to get Ilya up there, and then they can go at it, so.
See, I think of all his UK stuff, too, like, his matches with Tyler Bate, his matches with Pete Dunne, like, they're all good. You can't find a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
and
when
those
you watch
chops.
a Gunther match, I was gonna say he has like 7 finishers. No match finishes the same way with Gunther.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's awesome.
It's great to have someone where he's so brutal that he can really beat you with anything. He could do a basic power bomb if you wanted. He could go off the top rope. He could chop your freaking chest off if you wanted to. Yeah, like you said, no match finishes really the same. So that is definitely.
I've never seen a bad Gunther.
Me either.
It's impossible. They don't exist.
Nope. I did not pick Gunther for mine. I picked another lady. She is one of the greatest TNA knockouts of all time, Gail Kim. It's sad about her WWE run, but the things that she did for TNA and for women's wrestling, we're talking about her being the greatest during a time when WWE was putting on really bad divas matches, bra and panties, all that stuff. Gail Kim is one of the first real women's wrestlers, and she put on absolute bangers with Awesome Kong and really solidified the knockouts division as a place is we're not going to be all about, the divas and, skimpy outfits and all that stuff. They obviously still did it, but they solidified the knockouts division as a division where you come to wrestle. And that bled into a lot of other people, and that kind of, in a way, was its own women's revolution. So, for that, I had to put Gail Kim on there. I loved watching her in the ring. I loved her matches, and even to this day, she has a presence on TNA as one of the top managers, and you know, she gets that pop, she gets that respect, and you know, even if you talk to WWE wrestlers and stuff, they'll tell you that Gail Kim was one of the reasons why they are the people they are today. So, Gail Kim is my pick.
I always think of her matches with Awesome Kong.
They're
Just
amazing.
amazing feud.
And it's weird because that was like 15 years ago, right? The women's revolution didn't happen for almost another like 10 years or whatever. And those are matches you could still go back and watch and like, God damn,
they
that
still,
was good.
they still stand up.
Yeah. So,
Like, oh,
Gail Kim, my girl right here, the pick. Okay.
Well, I also went Gunther.
I
mean, we
We've been on
already
the
said
same
everything
page
about
all
Gunther.
I mean,
We said all there is to say about Gunther.
Oh.
I've never not been entertained watching Gunther,
Mhm.
and if I feel that way this long into his career, there's nothing that shows that that's gonna stop. And yeah, he's has one of the best auras about him. He carries himself amazingly. He's unorthodox, which is a lot of the draw behind him. I think too. And his matches are fucking brutal. He will make it look like he is legitimately beating the shit out of somebody. Like, you will be like, is that guy alive after he takes a hit from Gunther? Like, Gunther is just amazing. I don't know how you can not be entertained watching.
Yeah, he's one of those guys too. You could put anybody in a match with him, and you know it's gonna be a great match. He could wrestle him up.
Sheamus and Gunther is my personal favorite.
I say if you can wrestle him up and put on a 5-star match, then you definitely deserve to be up there. So
yeah, the Sheamus, Drew, and Gunther stuff is like my personal favorite stuff he's done so far. Aside from his NXT work with the Ilya, but yeah.
So yeah, just to piggyback what they all said.
all Gunthers,
Gunther.
yes.
Bro, he deserves it.
It's a good pick, man. Honestly, it really is.
The greatest IC champion we have ever seen. Just point blank.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to be said about him, and I can't wait to see more because I think in the future he definitely could be my top for the G's.
I mean, I think he's winning that world title at SummerSlam. Whether it's Drew, whether it's Damian.
I'm interested to see what happens. And how will Gunther lose the belts in the future to who is crazy because he's just one of those guys.
You know, Gunther is one of those people that is just like, if somebody beats Gunther, you're like, oh, the company believes in them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I mean, he held the IC title for 600 days. He held that UK World Championship for 600 days. Everywhere the man's been, he's been, like, the guy.
Exactly.
He has that final boss energy, bro.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the H's. So, I'll bring up the part. I did not really make a clear rule on didn't really care. All I'll say for myself is I did not use for my T's. So
I wish I would have known that earlier.
I mean, no, you could do either or, but myself I'm saying because I didn't
I only did one the.
Yeah, I didn't use the for T, so I could use them in the other spots if they have the in the front. And the reason I say that is because my H is the Hurricane. This man, this superhero, there's something about him that I absolutely loved. I loved his theme song. I loved his gimmick. Him beating The Rock. I know Stone Cold came out, but him beating The Rock was freaking amazing when he pinned him 1, 2, 3, because no one ever thought he was going to beat him. Stone Cold comes out, distracts The Rock, he gets the roll-up. Fantastic.
I still go back and watch that moment.
It's amazing. It's just so good. And then his stuff with Rosie and Mighty Molly, the whole superhero gimmick. I mean, it was great wrestling. And then obviously he became Gregory Helms. You know,
I like that stuff too.
Yeah, it was all good stuff, man. Cruiserweight champion. I feel like he's very underrated and is kind of lost in that beginning Ruthless Aggression era. But the Hurricane, every time I see him and I hear his theme music, man, I just love it. And that pose that he does where he goes like this, and then boom, it's just he started the dab. He started the dab like 15 years before everybody else. So that's my boy, the Hurricane, for you.
I went with someone that no one on here. I know no one went with here. But I'm gonna put a little story. I used to go over to my friend's house and we would watch like old. It was old at the time, wrestling. They were like running reruns,
Mm-hmm.
and they were running Heath Slater a lot.
Ah, yes.
Oh yeah, a lot.
I knew you
It
were
was
gonna
like
pick
the
him.
Natalia Heath Slater timeline, whatever that would have been.
I got kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I watched this man lose to El Torito live.
Oh yeah.
I was trashing him the whole time, and all of a sudden, I don't know, I just started to like him. I was like, you know what? I like this guy. And then he started the I Got Kids movement. He teamed up with Rhino, won the tag belt. Then he went into Impact, and he teamed up with Rhino again. Heath Slater's great. I love Heath Slater. He turned being a jobber into an actual gimmick and taking the belts and taking fame.
The 3-man band.
I was gonna say 3-man band.
Into the 1-man band.
Yeah, 1-man band. Dude, the
3-man band was
stuff
great.
with him and Brock was awesome.
Yeah.
I fucking love Heath Slater.
Him and Brock was so hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the theme song for the 3-man band. I love Rhino and Heath. I love any variation of Heath. I like.
Yeah. He still got kids, by the way.
Yeah, he's still got kids.
That's a great pick. I had a feeling you would pick him.
Always think of the I'm just one man.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he changed the theme song, it was amazing.
Yeah.
That is just God tier. He did what he could with his gimmicks, and he fucking went to the moon.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, Kyle, what you got?
I actually went out of the box, and I went New Japan, and I went Hiroshi.
I was gonna pick him, but I
went with the ace. I mean, the dude's done it all over there. Dude's a multi-world champion, and now every time I see him, I just think of the go.
Ace, go, Ace.
Like he does the imaginary guitar, you know, but everybody he's fought when I first got into New Japan was like probably towards the back end of his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Just every time he fought, it was always a great match, whether it was Okada or Naito or some lower card, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If he was fighting like Ishii or something, like
Ishii's fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude. Like
I fucking love Ishii.
And now he's President Tanahashi.
Yeah, he's president of New Japan. That's crazy.
And
he kind of did what Triple H. Like, he didn't marry the daughter, but like to be a wrestler and now be like the face of the company, like business wise, is kind of crazy.
He's still in ring too.
Yeah.
He was just on Collision last Saturday.
Yeah.
Like Ace is the man. Like I enjoy Ace. I remember the last time that I actually sat down and watched, I had bought one of the New Japan shows. It was on a random Saturday night, and he was in the main event where he like beat Lance Archer to get the belt back from AEW, who had just beat Jon Moxley. And it was a great match, dude. I just generally enjoy watching Hiroshi Tanahashi.
The fact that he's that old and he's still going strong is crazy. I saw him at Multiverses United, the Impact New Japan show. He fought Josh Alexander. No. Yeah, I think it was Josh Alexander. It's been.
I bet that was fun.
It was a freaking amazing match, man, and it's just. I'm glad that we have this Forbidden Door open because there's a lot of guys like him that I never saw during their prime, but the fact that they've come over and I get kind of like a taste of how good they are and why people love them is just it's great for business. It's great for us, so it's a good pick.
You know, yeah, it was definitely one of those. And I was like thinking through H names, right? Like man, there's not a whole lot. There was one obvious one, and I didn't want to write the obvious one, so we got one left, and we got one left, and I'm waiting to see if anyone's actually gonna mention him, but well,
that's all on you.
I just enjoy Tanahashi, and we'll get into a little bit more about what originally got me into New Japan shortly.
There you go. All right, Corday.
So I'll be honest, I didn't put the guy. I didn't. I finessed the system. Don't know if we're counting this, but
Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I knew someone was gonna put that there.
I had to. I don't know if it counts.
No, we'll count it. That says
His name
Triple
is
H is short.
3 H's, Hunter Hearst
Yeah,
Helmsley.
it technically counts.
Technically, it counts. Just his work in like the Attitude Era with DX and Shawn Michaels, and then when you start to transition to some of his solo work, you know, with fighting The Rock, putting on matches with The Rock, Stone Cold, then you get into like his years with Ric Flair, Randy Orton, Batista with Evolution. Then he's always had something entertaining for every generation that he's been involved of. Then when he starts to transition a little bit into the CEO side where he's still wrestling, you know, he has feuds with CM Punk, John Cena, Brock Lesnar. Then you have The Authority, Randy Orton. So he's always able to put his name in a basket and somehow it's successful. And now he's transitioned full time where, yeah, let's be honest, he probably got what he got because he married the boss's daughter. But at the same time, he took advantage of it and is doing incredible work right now. Where if you're looking at it from the business aspect, he deserves nothing but his flowers on the business side. But on the wrestler, when you get into the wrestler side, you know, he's a multi-time world champion. He's had amazing WrestleMania matches. He's helped put so much talent over. Even, like I said, in his later years. Only thing that Triple H has ever done that I hate is, till this day, I still believe Sting should have won that match at WrestleMania. That's the one thing that like really pisses me off.
I don't think it's his fault, though. I think it was Vince McMahon.
But it's not his fault. But that's one Triple H work that pisses me off still to this day.
That's funny that you only have one.
First off, I almost did that same thing, and I was like, I want to think of someone else. I was like, I didn't want to write that out. I always think of his Rumble return 02 when he came back and won.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Quad. Remember I told you there are 3 people that I think of when it comes to the World Heavyweight Championship? He is the first one. He is the first one because
the Reign of Terror.
Fucking Reign of Terror. So, growing up, when I first started watching wrestling, I only watched SmackDown. I didn't have cable, so anything that I got to see of Raw was like a premium. It was special. So when SmackDown would show like what happened on Raw, whatever, like the couple minutes segment, it was Triple H with that fucking belt, right? And it's always Triple H, like he's the bad guy. So I grew up hating him, so knowing that he was the bad guy, but he was the guy with the belt. He's the big deal. He was the world champion. And to me, at that time, the world championship meant way more than a WWE championship at that time. That big belt, it just screams aura, and then being on Triple H and him not giving that up and doing everything he can to keep it. I mean, that's Triple H right there, man.
Hey, he ended up putting over Big Dave, though.
Yeah.
In a big way.
Yeah, and I had...
The moment that always upsets me at Triple H is I always think of when he should have lost it to Goldberg.
To Goldberg, yeah.
And he didn't. That moment just irritates me like no other.
The thing about him, too, is... he has so many iconic things. Like, who's the first person you think of when you think of a sledgehammer, right?
Well,
it's Triple H. How about Motorhead? If I said Motorhead, boom, it's Triple H. You know, like he just has so many things that are just associated with him. Even if I said King, a lot of people would probably go to Triple H, King of Kings. So, like,
DX.
He's one of the greatest of all time.
You might say Shawn Michaels. But...
yeah, but both of them are, you know, it's just iconic. So he had stuff with Stone Cold and everything.
Before we move on, one thing I always think of with him. Do you guys remember with DX? I forgot how it goes. It was that thing, where it was like a presidential announcement, and it was like the words they can and can't say on TV.
Oh, I remember the segment.
Censor out.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, where do you go? He goes, God damn it! Watch your fucking mouth.
Yeah, he's able to do the good guy, the bad guy, the comedy stuff, and you know, even when the DX stuff was over, he was still in the main event with John Cena for the WWE title. I don't think he ever won it, and if he did, it was for a very short period of time. So, like, even at that time,
I don't think he ever won it.
Yeah,
either.
Being in the main event scene still and putting those new guys over too, it's crazy for him.
I also think of his like old '99 theme. One cell, it's on.
Yep, that's on too. Oh, all All right, I think that rounds out the H's. Let's move on to the I's. I'm interested to see what we got for the I's here.
Oh God, I'm not.
It's Cunard to
I
start.
got one. I got a good one.
Yeah, I got a good one too. I kind of like.
Impressive. I didn't write it down, but I put Ilya Dragunov.
Ilya Dragunov.
I mean,
that was in consideration for
him and
me.
Gunther go hand in hand. They have some of my favorite matches of all time. It'd be a sin not to put him in the list.
The
He's
H-bomb.
He's just
And
so
he's just amazing.
intense.
This intensity, the fact that he's almost always busted open every match somehow, and still wrestles through it. I don't know how he is always bleeding from the fucking head profusely, but he is, and he wrestles through it, and it makes the matches that much more intense.
Mm-hmm.
He's insane. I think he's clinically insane, but I love him. He's amazing. Carries himself well. I think he's gonna be a superstar when the time comes. I can't wait till we get the Gunther versus Ilya on the main roster. That's gonna be an amazing moment. I hope it's for a title though. However,
I don't think people are ready for that match.
I don't
Like,
think
it's
people
gonna-
are. I don't think people are ready for that either.
It's gonna be 10 stars.
I think the only people who are ready for that are the people who watch the other one.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
Yeah,
oh my god, I cannot wait.
When you first see Ilya and you see that man come out to the ring, you know you're
Dude.
about to see something because he's just so intense, even just during his entrance.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fucking.
He's all, you know-
waving his finger around. He's fucking
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And he, like,
Fucking
goes
amazing.
over the rope and does the point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Amazing.
oh man, this man's awesome.
But I had to give it to Ilya.
I like that. It's a good pick.
I went with Io Sky. Yeah,
Huh?
she's really making her name now. Her NXT stuff was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Her main roster stuff was awesome. It was good to see her cash in, get the belt, have a good run.
The
Like,
best
she's
women's cash and run probably
Mhm.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that entrance, her entrance is just so good. Like, yeah, she's really making a name for herself, and I hope she continues to grow for just later on down the line, because
Mm-hmm.
it seems like they got a big star on their hands if they keep putting her up at that trajectory, and I just love it when we get a good Io Sky match because she's a great worker.
Yeah.
My favorite Io Sky moment personally is Backlash versus Zelina in Puerto Rico.
No,
think it was
she fought
Zelina.
no, she fought
fought Rhea,
Rhea
didn't she?
Ripley.
Rhea? Was it?
Yeah, she fought
All I
Rhea
know
Ripley.
is Rhea. All I know is
No.
Rhea and Io were both really
Was it-
over that night.
It was Bianca,
Was it?
right?
Was it?
It was a
Bianca?
title. It was a title match.
I remember the Puerto Rico outfit.
Yeah,
don't
I thought
remember who
Zelina
she
fought Rhea Ripley and Bianca fought Io Sky.
Okay, well, whoever she fought,
Yeah.
fucking amazing, and she was over, and she was still new to the roster, fairly new, or to the main roster, fairly new to the roster, and she was super over in that crowd.
Mhm.
Yeah,
was amazing.
She was super over.
It was cool to
And
see.
that moonsault, man.
Yeah, nobody does it
Uh-huh.
quite like her. All right, Corday, what do you got for us?
Yo, this is the second time it's happened where like I'm just quiet because you say everything. I put EL Sky too. And honestly my sole reason was like you said, her interest is amazing, bro. and I feel like you said, she does good work. I feel like she's someone where like obviously we don't know what goes on behind the closed doors, but she seems like she's easy to work with as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically took all the words out of my mouth.
I'm just gonna. I was gonna throw it out there. I put Io Sky too. I remember telling Corday at WrestleMania after Bayley won. I said, I truly hope this is not the last time we see her with the title belt because I'm not gonna act like I've been a fan of hers for a long time. I didn't really watch her NXT run or anything like that, but what I've seen from her on the main roster is she has the potential to just be the best woman on the damn roster. And she can do all the wrestling stuff, but she's also kind of funny. Like the things that she says and she
Yeah.
does, she's hilarious, right?
The stuff she did in NXT with Zoe was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like everything that I've seen from her is just so good. The moonsault, like a lot of people do the moonsault, but when she does it, it's just different, and it hits hard. And like you had brought up the Backlash. That was gonna be one of my big things. Is Backlash is kind of when it happened for me. When I looked at Io Sky, I was like, okay, she's not just some tag team girl or some sideline girl. Because I knew who Dakota Kai was and I knew who Bailey was, but Io Sky, I was kind of like, okay, maybe she's just like the side person. That match at Backlash put me over, and I think that put her over. And the WWE looked at her and said, you know what, she's the girl. And when she won Money in the Bank, she cashed in, all that stuff is amazing. And I hope that she gets another title run and that the title run is better. Because the title run was more focused on damage control and less about Io Sky. So I hope the next round it's her as
the reason why her title run wasn't bad.
No.
The reason why it was like that too as well is because we all knew that it was going to be a Bailey WrestleMania too. So
I had thought that they needed more build for Bailey Io.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, it don't feel like the build of the title's gonna change.
The build was good until Bailey won, and like the breakup kind of was like already gonna happen, and then they kind of just stuttered on their way to WrestleMania.
Yeah,
that's how it felt. Where like
I felt like that story just went like fast.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of the problem, I think, when WrestleMania is 2 months from the Royal Rumble and you have that elimination chamber in the middle, is where like you do the breakup, but now you got to figure out what you're gonna do on that road to WrestleMania to keep that fresh. So
yeah, I remember being excited when Damage Control formed on the main roster, because at that point that summer's like she wasn't signed. Yeah, we all thought, oh, well, she's going back to Japan, like.
They like called them last second too.
Yeah, because her and Dakota Kai were both like out of the company.
Yeah.
Then they came back, and that was like the first big Triple H move.
Yeah, I think they notified them. Then. They notified them like on the Friday or something like that before SummerSlam, and like, we need you, and called them up.
Also, I want to say it was the first Mae Young Classic. I could be wrong. I want to say he was in the finals and lost.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where I first seen her, was the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah, she's got some really good New Japan stuff that I haven't seen yet either, so definitely would be on this list.
Definitely did not. That was not a point where I was watching like her Stardom. It would probably be Stardom, I imagine.
So
that was a whole world that was not known to me at the time.
Yeah. All right. So shout-outs to Io Sky on that one, and Ilya Dragunov. All right, so on to Jay. We're almost halfway done. We're going to Jay, and I think this is Kai? Yeah, this is Kai's run here.
Give me 1 second.
No, take your time, man. We're good. Appreciate you guys being here, too. Sticking it out.
Oh, yeah.
So, this was one of them that I changed. I originally had Jeff Hardy. I was like, that's my childhood. I was like, I love Jeff. And then I thought about it. And I was like, you know who entertains me more than almost anyone nowadays? The Bang Bang Gang, Mr. Jay White.
Yes, sir.
Every time I see this man, just the entrance, the drip, the belts, the theme.
The Switchblade.
Yeah, every time I see him, I'm just like, oh, let's go. That's my boy right there. Like, I got to see him live when I hit Dynamite back in December, and he won the main event. It was like him against John Moxley against Swerve, and he was the one that came out on top. You know, and I know some people don't necessarily like the way he's been booked in AEW. I feel like it's been fine, aside from when he was putting over Billy Gunn. That never should happen.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything, his New Japan work is great. His AEW work's been great. And every time I see this man, I'm just like, man, his TNA work was awesome. Former Bullet Club leader. Like, when I see him, I just think the future.
Yeah, when he came out on Impact, I think it was Slammiversary, if I'm correct, right? He came out. I did not know who he was, but you got all hype. And I looked into him, and I was like, "Oh my god, this guy is actually a big deal." And he was the never open weight champion at the time, and now
was he doing TNA when he was still the New Japan, like the world champion?
No, he didn't do
That was
world
okay. It was
champion.
after
Yeah, it
he
was
was
just a
world
never
champion.
open weight championship. But then seeing him on Forbidden Door and all that stuff, Jay White became a really big deal, and I got to know a lot about him very short time.
He's just so good.
And it speaks volumes that he was one of the guys WWE was like.
Dude, I
that
still
really-
cannot believe they didn't contact
Yeah.
him. I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, we're getting AJ Styles versus Jay
Yeah,
White. I
that
was like,
books itself.
he's a million% going to WWE. I was like, AEW's too top heavy. They don't need him. I was
They
like,
didn't
he'd be
call
the
him?
perfect. I was like, he'd be the perfect after Mania debut.
Yeah, it's one of those
You cannot
mistakes.
convince me that Vince was not the reason that he wasn't called.
That's one of those mistakes they're definitely
But
gonna regret.
oh man, just nowadays when I hear that music hit and I see him and the guns and Juice in the back, I'm like, oh, let's go.
It's one of the
This
best
is my
entrances.
stuff.
Yeah, one of the best entrances right now.
Like I said, dude, I had Jeff and I thought about it and I was like, no, I gotta put Jay White. I was like, because every time he comes on, I just beam with joy.
I respect that pick, honestly. All right, Corday, what do you got for us?
Gotta go with, man, John Anthony Felix Cena, bro.
Yeah.
I will fight tooth and claw to my death that John Cena is the greatest wrestler to touch foot in a WWE ring, in any wrestling ring, greatest wrestler of all time. I don't care what anyone says. Not the moveset or none of that. Just the fact of him knowing how to sell himself, man. He's there for knows how to sell himself to adults, knows how to sell himself to children. Oh, pause. But like John Cena, John Cena's amazing, man. He's the guy that got me into wrestling, bro. Like, I was born in 01. He debuted in 03, so he been wrestling all my life, really. Like, to see him as, going from the prototype almost being fired to all of a sudden the Doctor of Thugonomics bringing in millions of views to WWE TV, and then going from Thugonomics to Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect. And it's the things how impactful he is outside of the ring. What other wrestler? Your favorite rapper can't have a platinum album, but John Cena can.
Yeah.
Like, the star power that John Cena brings. This dude has a platinum rap album, and it's actually good.
Yeah.
It's actually good.
I love every song on there.
I did too. Right now, that song is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And just 16-time world champion. And then if you want to go to the work he put on, with guys like Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, Batista, The Rock, CM Punk. Then he put guys over, like, later on in his career, he put guys over Daniel Bryan. He wasn't put over, but think about, like, that transition period when they unified the titles, and it was like Randy Orton won. You have when he did his Open US Challenge title run, he put all Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. Like, John Cena's work was that United States title run is arguably might be one of the best work of his career.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that later on in his career, where it's like his longevity was good. When John Cena was still there actively, his longevity was good. It was good. And, he was one of those guys where it was like you always expected him to win because he was John Cena. So it was like to see him actually lose certain matches. Like, think about how he got dominated by Brock Lesnar. That was like, oh, John Cena's actually not Superman. Where he's not Super Cena. Like, John Cena's the GOAT, bro.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, no, let a whole generation. And even nowadays, he comes back and puts people over. He
does.
Recently put Theory over. He put Solo over on the way out. Like,
then came back and whipped his ass at WrestleMania. Don't forget.
Don't forget how he also lost to Roman Reigns.
He was growing up, John Cena was the top guy when I was watching. Like, he was the company man, Make-A-Wish, champion. John Cena rocks, John Cena sucks.
Mm-hmm.
He got a reaction everywhere he went.
And everyone knows the trumpets. The bum, bum,
Mm-hmm.
bum,
Yeah.
bum. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
but his better theme song, Wordlife.
Yo,
Basic Thugonomics. Better.
I
still
messed
love
with Thugonomics John Cena.
That's
I loved that gimmick.
I
I
did
remember
too.
when he was coming up, like, they would advertise it for SmackDown, and I didn't have a way to watch SmackDown. It made me so sad because I was like, I need to see this guy. Like, they would, advertise him in like a never-before-seen match, and I'd be like, I need to see this because
He has some of the most creative insults of all time.
Yeah.
Remember when he came back as
The man's a
Thugonomics Cena?
genius on the mic.
He is.
Yeah.
Doesn't need a script.
Came back as Thugonomics Cena for that one pay-per-view. I don't remember which
It
one
was a mania. It was a mania.
It was
Yeah.
amazing, though. I was
Yeah,
like,
it
yes,
was,
the
It
best
was
Cena.
Him and Elias.
35.
yeah, I was gonna say it was the mania where he should have been fighting Kurt
It's
Angle.
30.
Had Mania
35.
35.
Yeah, it was 35. And it showed
He had
up
a-
at 30.
Had a Yankee jersey on.
He also showed up at 36 during the Bray Wyatt
Yeah.
Fiend match.
I
house-
always think of his later work. I always think of when he owned Roman on the mic.
Yep.
Yep. That
Never
was
happened.
Roman was tripping over his words, and Cena was like, "You're gonna be the top guy. You gotta learn how to talk without stuttering, my
He
man."
said, "The reason I'm still here is because you can't do it. You're not the top guy," or something like that. And
he
then
was like, what did he say? He was like, it took you. What did he say? Like, it took you 5 years to finally cut halfway decent promo. And that was
yeah,
tough on his size a little bit.
yeah. So I had to pick John Cena because, first of all, what am I wearing right here? The United States title belt, the spinner belt. I started watching wrestling, and he was the guy. When I went to school, everyone at school called me John Cena because I wore his headband, I had his wristbands, I had his chain gang soldier football jersey, I had his chain. To this day, I still have a John Cena chain with the U.S. spinner belt on it. For every single match, including up to now, I just always wanted him to win. Super Cena was my dream. I hated every single... Why do you think I don't like CM Punk? Where did it start? Because I wanted John Cena to win. I wanted Super Cena to hold that fucking belt forever. I didn't care who it was. I fucking hated whoever he fought against, except for Randy Orton, which I'll get to that later.
Did your hatred carry over to Randy
Well,
Orton?
What happened
John-
was...
John Cena put on for the culture too, bro.
Yeah, his album dropped. Everybody in school knew I was listening to that stuff. And to this day, I pulled it up on my phone. It's on my on repeat playlist on Spotify because I still listen to these songs, man. Chain Gang the Click, track 16 is like my favorite one on there. Just everything that John Cena does, the way he carries himself outside the ring too, on the mic. He's a role model. He was my role model. He was my guy. To this day, I will always root for John Cena. He's United States title run. This belt right here, I wanted this belt for fucking years. The second I saw it, that was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in my life. And even then his next United States title run too, the one that you'd mentioned in 2015, one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Every WrestleMania, all his entrances, everything about John Cena, I absolutely loved.
Who you telling? You're not the only one, bro.
Yes,
You're the only
sure.
one, bro.
Yeah, so, and the spinner belt, the rap, everything, like, I was just, John Cena's my number one.
Lay your ass down for the 3-second tan.
Yeah, Word Life, Basic Thugonomics, that's when I started watching. That theme song to me that is just my favorite theme song, like, of all time. You throw that on, I know all the words. I love the gimmick. I love all the wrestling games that I played when I first started watching wrestling. They had that. Everything about Word Life, every time he comes out to that music is just god tier. So I could go on about John Cena for fucking 20 years. It's John Cena. He's my favorite wrestler.
Always
there it is.
think of his Mania entrance where he had all the John Cenas on the
Yep.
left and right. And
I mean, we didn't even mention him coming back and winning that Royal Rumble too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2008. Triple H's face.
no one thought he was gonna come out. Yeah, he comes out number 30 and wins.
Yeah, and
He
he could be the 17-time world champion in the next couple years. before he retired.
Hopefully.
So,
I also, think about where it all started. Ruthless aggression.
Yes, sir. Oh, that's my boy right there. And shout outs because it was tough because I wanted to put Jordan Grace. I was gonna use my golden letter. I fucking love her. That's my honorable
I'm amazed
mention.
you didn't use your golden letter to put Jeff Jarrett in there.
Never.
Yeah,
No, definitely not Jeff Jarrett. But Jordan Grace, great to see her. I know I got the Roxanne Perez shirt on there, but that's a story for another time. Jordan Grace has been doing great work, and I needed to shout her out. So, all right, Kuhn, it's J time. What do you got?
I have Jonathan Gargano.
Jonathan Gargano. I like it. Johnny Wrestling.
And I didn't watch him like his prime NXT days. What really put me on to him is when he came back to NXT to fight Grayson Waller, and that match was phenomenal. I watched this man drop
When he came out.
He came out in HBK
Yeah,
gear.
you know me. HBK gear?
You know me. I'm an HBK guy. And when he came out in that gear, I was like, oh, hell yeah, this guy's a baller. And then he had the actual match with Grayson Waller. I watched this man drop kick this man. He put a trash can on the man and drop kicked him. I was like, oh my god. But he brought a banger with Grayson Waller. That's also a match that made me like Grayson Waller a lot because he took an ass whooping. He was like welted up from the back up. And yeah, ever since then, I've kind of been a fan of him. He keeps doing HBK inspired things like him and Tommaso Ciampa on the main roster are kind of doing the DX, but it's DIY, which is fucking cool as well to see. R-Truth is confusing them as DX, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I want to see them have a tag run, or I want to see Jonathan Gargano have a main, have his own singles run. Because he is too good not to get something.
We'll get to more Black and Gold NXT, but that's what I think of with Johnny. His stuff with Adam Cole, mwah. The Ciampa feud, mwah.
Even when they were a tag team.
Andrade,
DIY and NXT days was phenomenal too. The first takeover I went to, it was them versus FTR. I think it's regarded as like the greatest tag team match of all time, right?
The match where they get them in the double submission in the ring, and they're like grabbing each other, like don't tap, and they tap together.
So I never watched NXT before then. So watching that match, I didn't really know any of the story or who these guys were. That match changed my life. As someone who didn't even know what was going on with them as teams, never seen them before, I watched that match and I was like, holy fuck, that was good. So I can only imagine how people that actually were invested in that storyline feel about that match. So
even their stuff afterwards with like the Authors of Pain and stuff, like those ladder matches, they're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Also, honorable mention was John Morrison, my boy.
Johnny Impact.
Yes, sir. Johnny Impact.
Is he right now? He's Johnny TV.
Yeah, Johnny TV.
And he was Johnny Mundo in Mexico, I think. So, yeah.
When was he? Did he do some Lucha Underground stuff too?
Yeah, I think that might when he was Johnny Mundo. Yeah. Oh, yeah, good shout outs there.
But yeah, I love Johnny, and like I said, there was just so many for Jay you could have went with.
Oh my god,
like I said, I had Jeff Hardy and I switched it.
Josh Alexander was another one.
Josh Alexander.
Yeah. So, all right, we're into the M's, which means we're about to be halfway through here.
We're on the K's, aren't we?
Yep.
Oh yeah, K. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead. Holy shit. Yeah, K. All right. This is Corday, right? With the K.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just jump right into it. Kurt
Angle's.
Honestly, the reason why I put Kurt Angle, I'm not going to act like his work is great. I just put him because he's fucking hilarious. Like,
yeah.
The main reason why I put him is because he's hilarious. Like, I'm a man who likes to play with boys. Like,
wait, hold up.
Like, hold on. Then you have him with the whole like I like how I said John Cena and then put Kurt Angle right after it too, because it's like you becoming a John Cena fan, him and Kurt Angle, and then you have all his stuff. Like, think of like now that Kurt Angle meme. Think of Him and Brock Lesnar back in the day was hilarious.
Best SmackDown match ever.
Right. We always talk about this at work pretty often, once in the blue. Kurt Angle being the member of the Shield that was.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. He is a member of the Shield.
The greatest Shield member.
Everything about Kurt Angle is dead hilarious. Him singing the Shawn Michaels theme song. I got gold medals.
Yep, sexy Kurt.
I'm just the sexy Kurt. Like Kurt Angle legit made the list because he's hilarious.
When he came
in
out
the tiny cowboy hat
with Stone Cold. And the milk truck too.
The milk truck and you can never just hearing his theme song. I just automatically think you suck.
Yeah,
like Kurt Angle's amazing.
Oh my god, that's him and Edge's rivalry. That's when he became bald too.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's where the "You Suck" chant started.
Yep, and the hair for hair match right there. Yeah, Kurt Angle. I mean, what's there to say? Before I show you, this is my golden letter, by the way. We'll start with Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle, one of the biggest reasons I even started watching wrestling, I didn't mention John Cena. Kurt Angle was definitely the other one. He is the reason I started watching Total Nonstop Action. When he went there, I said, I love this man too much. I need to know what's going on. I tuned in to watch T, and I did mention this earlier. I came for Kurt Angle, stayed for AJ Styles. Their feuds were immaculate. They put on fantastic work. And they can't forget Kurt Angle also won every single belt in TNA at one time and held the IWGP belt at the same time too.
Gold medalist too.
Yeah, these the first gold medalists in history. I've watched that match. It's freaking crazy that he won that with a broken freaking neck. You have the "It's True, Oh It's Damn True" gimmick. His theme song.
I forgot about that one too.
Yeah, his gimmick with.
I know some people say Brock. I think that Kurt had the greatest rookie year.
Yeah,
in WWE.
I agree. And his TNA run was longer than WWE, and he was.
Oh, I know. People don't realize that.
No, they don't. And he put on banger after banger. He did the moonsaults on the Mr. Anderson off the top of the cage, which is crazy. I mean, this man did it all. He put his body on the line every day. And I think I feel like it's underrated because I never hear anybody speak about it. But the 1 hour Iron Man match on SmackDown, we got free Iron Man match of him and Brock Lesnar, is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. I've gone back and watched that thing, and it is amazing. When he won the World Heavyweight title on that Battle Royal on SmackDown, when he just came from Raw onto SmackDown for that and put Mark Henry over to win the title, crazy. Yeah.
In my opinion, that is the greatest match in SmackDown history.
The Iron Man match, yeah, it is so good.
Not to mention his Mania matches. Shawn Michaels, banger.
Oh.
Brock, banger.
The Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels on Raw. WrestleMania 21, one of the reasons that is my favorite WrestleMania is because of that Kurt Angle Shawn Michaels match. Because I hate Shawn Michaels, Kuhn. Fucking hate him. To see my boy Kurt Angle make him tap at WrestleMania was one of the greatest moments I'd ever seen. Watching Shawn could not get out. That's one of the things that I love about Shawn Michaels, that he made that ankle lock look like it hurt, and he tried so hard to escape, and he just couldn't, and he fought and fought. And then he tapped out. It's crazy. The John Cena stuff, too, when he puts the visor sideways, bro, and he starts rapping, is so funny, man.
Kurt Ray. That's always the singlet they use for the games. Is that like red and white singlet he wore when Mysterio debuted?
Yep. And
Kurt Benoit, they're all good.
Yeah, and you can't forget. I feel like people forget too. WrestleMania 20, I believe it was. He fought Eddie Guerrero for the WWE title, and there was he got Eddie in the ankle lock, and Eddie untied his shoelaces, and he got him in the roller. I mean, he does it all, man, and he's one of the greatest. And it sucks that it went out with Baron Corbin, because he deserved better than that, man. Yep. But he is by far the greatest Shield member of all time. And and speaking of TNA, the man that made me start watching TNA, Kurt Angle, the man that brought me back my golden letter, Kenny Omega. This man
Yep,
right
yep.
here, Kenny by God Omega. I could not choose between these two. Is why I've invented the golden letter rule. Because Kenny Omega, when I heard that the AEW World Heavyweight Champion was showing up on Impact, are you kidding me? I had to tune in. During the pandemic, we watched it, and I was instantly hooked on the man they called better than Ric Flair, better than Gotch, Hackenschmidt. This man right here with Don Callis was some of the greatest stuff I'd ever seen, and it made me start watching AEW because I always wanted to watch it, but I just didn't have that motivation. Kenny Omega got me to watch AEW. His matches with MJF, with freaking that one where they fought to keep his streak alive of the longest champion. His stuff with Bryan Danielson, his stuff with the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page, and even Moose. People forget Moose fought Kenny Omega on an AEW.
Yes, 'cause I remember I hated that finish.
Yeah.
I still hate that finish.
Yeah.
Because the Young Bucks were just there, and they were never on his
Yeah. But
Loved
just
the match, but
what is it? Orange Cassidy and Pac, the triple threat match was so freaking good, man. The belts.
Kenny got us to watch AAA.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched
Because
AAA.
We're like, yo, we're gonna watch Kenny and Andrade because that just sounds awesome.
Yeah, I watched so much stuff, and like I never watched this stuff before, and I can't act like I'm a New Japan fan. I didn't watch that stuff, but
they taught us how amazing AAA shows
yeah. But everything that he's done since I started watching him was amazing. I mentioned it earlier, the match with Christian Cage. Watching Kenny Omega and Christian Cage, two of my favorites of all time, go at it like there for the Impact World Championship. Kenny Omega is just my guy, and he's a Street Fighter guy. Holy fuck! Like I found that out. I watched the stuff with New Day and the Young Bucks and all that stuff. I was like, oh my god, this is my guy. On top of that, the man
he currently has been streaming Street Fighters.
He has been, and just like the way he carries him outside the ring too, in stuff like that. Even with like the brawl out, the way he talks about it and stuff like that. I have so much respect for him that I could not put him on there because he's my favorite wrestler right now, and I come out to every stream to battle cry. That's what people know me for, and yeah, those are my two picks. I went on for too long, so there you go. All right.
I went with none other than Kofi Kingston.
Kofi Kingston.
I mean, Kofi is always a draw at the Rumble. You had Kofi Mania. Even before that, Kofi when he had the Jamaican accent, bro. And he had the fucking old theme song that was a banger. Fucking.
Did you happen to see that skit when Punk came back and he greeted Kofi? And he's like, Jamaican be crazy!
Yeah!
Jamaican be crazy! Yeah, Kofi's like, I don't do that anymore.
Long-term storytelling. I love it. Yeah, Kofi Kingston definitely, he's that show. And Kofi Mania, I mean, it was nice to see Daniel Bryan kind of give that back to somebody else, that moment he had. So
you gotta think, man, if Ali never got hurt, we never get Kofi Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Kofi, New Day stuff, amazing.
I
feel like the New Day really helped all of the people involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I always think of Kofi before they brought back the White Stripe IC title, like that 2012, 2015-ish era.
Mm-hmm.
I just always think of Kofi and Ziggler. Those were like my IC champions, because it felt like every other pay-per-view there was a Kofi Ziggler match.
Yeah.
And also, like, the thing with Kofi is, he's one of the main reasons why I'm always excited to watch the Rumble, because he's always doing something crazy if he's involved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kofi, for me, is the Rumble, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm looking forward to most. I'm looking forward to the Kofi spot. Even if it's botched sometimes, at least I know it's going to be something crazy attempted.
Yeah.
And it's always amazing. Oh, and honorable mention, I've been obsessed with her recently, Kairi Sane.
Kairi Sane, yep. I knew it.
Kairi Sane has been one of the funniest people to watch.
Yeah, it's nice to have her back, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, I totally cheated here. because I used my golden letter,
Mm-hmm.
but I even went more in depth. I'm glad you left me something to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I got Kurt Angle, my GOAT, then I got Omega Okada.
Omega.
This is what's got me watching New Japan.
Yes, sir.
This trilogy of matches, oh my god. I can go back now and they still hold the test of time. That first one at the Tokyo Dome, 45 minutes. And then the second one that went an hour plus.
Mm-hmm.
And then back to the third one, which was in the G1, where they're all beat up.
Yep.
And they have a short match that's only 20 minutes. Like, I just couldn't differentiate the three. I got one for every other letter.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't differentiate the three. I was like, I can't.
Kazuchika Okada, Kenny Omega, Kurt Angle.
Even nowadays, like, I want Kenny back so bad.
Yeah.
Just seeing him on Dynamite, I was like, yo, hearing Battle Cry through my TV again is amazing.
When he came
Even
out with the 3 belts. Oh, the 4 belts, sorry.
Mhm.
And the one's draped over him like this. He's got the 2 in his hand walking down. Like, that is aura right there.
The belt collector is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, what turned me on to Kenny was that match at the Tokyo Dome. I got told, you need to watch this.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat down and I found it and I watched that and I was like, that might be the greatest match I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I still think that to this day. And,
Yeah.
you know, the stuff Okada's doing right now is great. Like, the Young Bucks gift the man a Ferrari, and the fans, like, not being able to hate the guy, just chant, you deserve it.
Yeah.
And, oh, dude, it's just...
What did he do? They were chanting
Cinema.
CM Punk at him, and he said, shut the hell up, or something like that.
Yeah. He took the mic and he goes, shut up, bitches.
Yeah, that's funny.
And, you know, Kurt Angle, I've said it on occasion, Kurt Angle is my GOAT. He is my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's the best in the ring. He's hilarious. He can cut promos. He can be serious. He can be funny. There's nothing that Kurt can't do. I mean, you know, we've already talked enough about Kurt, so I don't really...
Yeah.
We kind of covered all that, but yeah. Omega Okada, that got me... That's what got me watching New Japan.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And
They didn't even mention the Will Ospreay stuff, too. His matches with the...
His matches with Ospreay last year, like... It's just... Kenny's just he's the best bout machine for a reason.
Yeah.
And, you know, the best bout machine factory just produces match after match after match.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same way with Okada. If Okada's in the match, you just know it's gonna be good.
Exactly. You having fun back there?
I see. He got cashed in on.
Yep.
We got a new fantasy champion.
No, he's just my Paul Heyman.
Oh, yeah, I see.
You should have made him stay then. Stand behind you and hold your belt up for you.
All right, so what we'll do here, since this is going longer than I thought it would, we're going to stop after M, and we'll convene another time for the rest of them. I know Corday has work in the morning, everything, so I didn't think it would be this long, but at the same time, I think it kind of did. Just because, like I said, 26 letters, 4 people. It's
a lot of letters, bro.
Yeah. So we'll just do it. I'll just split it in half. We'll do this one, and then we'll do it at another time. Whenever
So
we're
we're
free
stopping
again.
after M.
Yeah. That way.
13?
Yeah, that'll be down the
Okay.
middle. Okay.
Cool. I'm cool with that.
So we got 2 more here for this
Yeah.
one.
I'll admit, some of it's my fault. I got work.
No, you're good. You're good. Like I said, we kind of started a little bit
No.
late, and
I also have work in the morning.
yeah, we also misjudged time. We thought it'd only take.
To be fair, we're wrestling fans. We knew we were gonna chat about it.
Yeah, exactly. It was just bound to happen. So, all right. So we're on L now, I believe, and it is me.
Yes, we're
right?
on L.
Oh man, it's actually me. Hold on, let me see. I got. Oh yeah. Okay. All right, let me write down my answer real quick. All right, so to start off the L's, I had to go with former TNA World Heavyweight Champion Lashley, my boy right here. Let me tell you, when he first debuted on SmackDown, I said, "Who the fuck is this guy with the big ass muscles, bro?" And I'll always remember where he's from Colorado Springs, Colorado. And he came out and he did this dance, and then boom, and the pyro would go off, man. Then he went to TNA. Yeah, he went to TNA, won the World Heavyweight Championship, like reinvented himself. I believe he was also in Bellator, fighting in MMA. So he was doing both at the same time, which made me even respect him even more. And then him coming back as the almighty Bobby Lashley. I mean, I won't say that I loved his WWE title run, but I think that was more the booking than him.
His self was good during the run.
Yeah.
I love his run with MVP. God
Yeah,
tier.
it's
Boy, Pimp Daddy MVP.
The weird thing about that run was they like had Miz cash in on Drew because they didn't want to beat Drew to have
Yeah.
Lashley beat Miz because they didn't want to beat Drew.
I loved Miz winning that title.
Oh, I did too.
I was like, finally, he gets the respect
I was sitting there
deserved.
and I was like, you know, this ain't gonna last for long, but I like.
Yeah, and then
I just thought it was very weird that they had to like book around the fact that they didn't want Lashley to pin Drew.
yeah, and him and Drew Galloway had a great fight for the world title there in Impact or TNA at the time, and I was
curious. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. What's your question?
I was gonna say out of curiosity because I was gonna ask, did he actually just take the Bobby out of his name?
Yeah, so his name was just Lashley in Impact / TNA.
See, I didn't. The only time I really watched that run because I wasn't really watching Impact at the time was the episode that they did from the Hardy compound where he fought Eddie Edwards.
Yeah,
but the match didn't end on the episode. It was like you have to tune in next week if you want
to see the rest of it. Ends. Yeah. But yeah, in TNA, his name was just Lashley. So
I was just curious. I just didn't know for sure.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, it was cool to see kind of like the callback when Drew and Bobby fought at WrestleMania. I was just kind of mad that they didn't like. They were never going to do it at that time period, but reference the fact that they had already fought in TNA for a world title and they were doing it again. So, but yeah, I had to put my boy Lashley on there for
somebody had to.
Yeah, and I couldn't put him in the B's. There's no way. So it was perfect to put Lashley. And then shout out to my boy LA Knight, aka Eli Drake. He was going to be my other pick, but longevity.
Honorable mention.
Yeah, that longevity took over for Lashley. So, all right, what do you got, Kuhn?
Oh, it's my second favorite in the women's division, Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan,
yeah.
the current world champion.
Both champions.
That's my honorable mention.
But
dude,
it feels so good to see her with the belt again. I wish it was the moment where we got Rhea versus Liv, but obviously injuries happen. But the stuff that's going on with Dom and all this is amazing. I've always been a Liv fan.
I was hanging out with Cunard. We were playing Rogue earlier this week, and he goes, "Liv Morgan kissed Dominic? That luck."
Yeah, I did. I was like, it should have been me.
Yeah, if it's the Yugi beam. Why? It should have been me.
But yeah, I mean, Liv Morgan's always been underrated in my opinion, and now I feel like she's kind of gotten that buzz around her, and people kind of know her as an established wrestler on the brand, which is nice. And now I hope they don't fuck this title run.
Yeah, was she in the Riot
I don't
Squad?
think they will.
Yes, she was.
Okay. That time period, I always get her and Mandy Rose mixed up because they were both in like women's factions at that time.
It was her, Ruby Riot, and Sarah Logan.
Sarah Logan, yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That whole time period was crazy because there was 3 different groups of 3.
Yeah.
There was PCB.
Yep, Paige, Charlotte, Becky, and then
there was Sasha, Naomi.
Team Bad.
Yeah, I don't remember
Tamina, I think
Tamina.
Tamina. I think Tamina was.
No one's Mina.
No one's Mina than Tamina.
But then also Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. That's the other group that I get mixed up with the Riot Squad.
I always think of NXT Liv Morgan with the blue tongue and the checkered pants. When I
Yeah,
first seen her, I was like, this is
fire.
different.
Mhm.
This is different, but like in a good way.
Yeah.
That shit was so fire. But
But
yeah, Liv Morgan, my girl.
yep, current world champion. I like it.
Both the current world champions
Yeah.
right now. I'm thriving.
Mhm. All right,
Well,
Kai.
you didn't have to do it because I did. LA Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of my current favorites. Like, just the energy, the crowd pop. It's just good to see him getting his flowers. Uh, someone that we really didn't look like was gonna make it when he was Max Dupree. Max Dupree.
Mhm.
And then he, went back to LA Knight. He's main evented pay-per-views with Roman. Feels like he's one of the top guys on SmackDown.
He's insanely over.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to win a
And-
freaking title already.
Well, right, he ain't gonna do that feuding with Carmelo Hayes.
No.
Well, he not sure if you guys are gonna watch it. Spoiler: he said something about wanting the United States title on SmackDown tonight.
Yeah, he
You
mentioned
know-
it, but then Carmelo Hayes walked up to him and said stuff.
Yeah.
So
LA Knight Logan seems like a no-brainer feud. They've teased it before. They had the whole Money in the Bank tease,
yeah,
and
I think it's gonna go two
You
directions.
know-
They're either trying to hold off that title match for SummerSlam, so they're giving him Carmelo Hayes
I
to
was gonna
build up to
say-
that.
I think it'll
Or-
happen at Summer.
Yeah,
I'm
or
interested to see what happens because SummerSlam happens to be in Cleveland.
yeah,
That's
And
what
Logan is from Cleveland.
but you think
Yeah.
people are gonna cheer for him over
No.
LA Knight? I don't think that's happening.
No, I
yeah.
don't think so either. I just think it's gonna be worth seeing the crowd
Yeah.
reaction.
The other storyline I can see them doing is Money in the Bank, because like he could win the world, the Money in the
do you-
Bank.
Do you remember the pop last year when his hands
Yeah,
were
he
on
should've
that
won
briefcase?
Should have won that.
And then Damian pushed him over, and my mouth
I-
dropped.
Yeah,
Because
I
I
could've-
thought they were gonna do it.
I remember wanting to cry because
Mhm.
LA Knight did not win Money in the Bank.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like such a
That
kick
felt
in
like,
the face.
well, he's still hella over. But, like,
I thought
that
that
felt
was
like when he was at his highest point.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna kill his momentum. Thankfully,
You-
it didn't.
You know what? While we're talking about it, I'm gonna just mine is LA Knight too.
Yes, sir.
By chance, y'all were at Mania. Because when I went to Raw, like, he wasn't even on the show. He came up on an infomercial and everybody was popping. But even in, like, the lobbyways when I was there, that's all you were hearing was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, literally,
It was-
as we're walking to our seats at Mania, you literally would just randomly hear everybody go, "Oh, hey, Knight," and
Yeah.
just literally randomly.
Yeah, so my buddy,
popcorn,
his girlfriend was getting angry at us because, like, you would hear one person go, yeah, and then all of us would go, yeah. And it was just yeahs going up and down the hallways.
It's the same. Like my girlfriend, like I said earlier, she doesn't watch wrestling really. So whenever we go into a store like the dollar store or Five Below or whatever, I always see his Slim Jim poster, and I walk up to her and just go, "Yeah." And she
Yeah.
always looks at me, like, "What are you doing?"
Every time I say yeah, like in response to somebody, if I don't say yeah the first time to respond to them, I will say it again. I'm like, yeah.
Yo, so-
And I go, yeah.
Yo, Brandon, so you don't even know, bro, because you always leave work like earlier from working overnight.
hmm
I legit like on first shift started going like whenever someone asks me a favor, I go like, yeah. And
Yeah.
everyone else started doing it too, and don't even.
They
know
don't know what we're doing. Yep.
It's just ingrained in everything.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
man.
it's like our new woo. Like people will randomly woo in the stands, and everyone will start doing it because of Ric Flair. Yeah, it's kind of like that now. Or you just go, yeah, and then everybody just starts saying it. So.
But yeah, I love LA Knight. The reason why I love LA Knight too is because like not only is he over and gets the crowd going, it's people call him like fake rock or whatever. If you can talk about yourself in third person and make it successful, that's hard to do. Is talk about yourself in third person.
Yeah.
Like when I tried to,
Yeah.
it doesn't even sound right. Like,
Yeah. You're not wrong.
We also got the sunglasses meme.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then I know
Yeah,
this is technically cheating, but if we're gonna talk about LA Knight, we can't forget Impact Eli Drake.
Eli
Drake.
Drake, I tell him every
love
time,
Eli Drake.
baby.
I want
The
them
one
to
time-
bring back the dummy button so
Yeah.
bad.
Dummy,
Yeah,
girl.
And you don't really realize how many championships he like in Impact. He was the world champion. When I'm pretty sure he was a tag team champion in TNA. He was a tag team champion in Impact too.
Yeah.
So
And he was in a team with fucking Drew Galloway. I need them to bring that shit up, bro. Please.
he won the title with Scott Steiner, didn't he?
Yeah. They held
Yeah.
the belt for a couple days, but he did win the belt with
It still counts on his resume.
Yeah.
Dude, have y'all ever went back? Because I heard so much about it, I had to. Have y'all ever went and listened to his NWA Shoes of a Champion promo?
Mm-mm.
It just when you have an extra like 3 minutes, go listen to it. It is hilarious. He is completely drunk on set. He is drinking, and he's like, "You see these shoes of a champion?"
Yes, sir.
And then
And
you guys remember when he was a security jobber before?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I saw the pictures of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, it was during CM Punk's championship run. He was like a security guard trying to hold back Punk.
Yeah. I saw the pictures of that. That shit is so funny.
It's just everything he does makes me happy.
Yep.
His
And
feud with
just,
Rick Grimes
you
in
know-
NXT was gold too.
Mm-hmm. His NXT stuff
Wait,
was.
yeah, Mrs. Butler, that shit was amazing.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
That was godly. I loved it.
And he held the $1 million title.
Yep.
Like, it's just everything that he's got over has just been organically on his own. The
Yep.
Kavorka of LA Knight.
Yeah.
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 I tell Corday every day, that's my boy Eli Drake, former TNA World Heavyweight Champion right there. Yeah. Dummy, yeah.
Dude, he needs to bring back the dummy button. He
Yeah.
needs to-
He's said it a
He's
couple
done it
times.
before, yeah, he said it a couple times. But did he used to have that button, you know?
That was funny too. The SmackDown before WrestleMania, the one that I went to, he chokes on his gum mid promo and he fucking recovered. Or like he's like talking and he goes and he goes like that and then he just starts going off after that. I was like, this man is so smooth. Like even like on spot improv is just it's top tier.
You know what?
man.
One of the smoothest things he's ever done so far, like in WWE to me, when he interrupted Roman's entrance. It just
Oh
like,
my god, he
down
walked
to
right
the
past
contract
him.
signing.
Yes. Dude, that was the most badass thing I've seen him do, man.
I always think of when Sheamus and Drew are arguing, and his music hits, and he just comes out, and he's like, "Y'all need to quit worrying about each other. Y'all need to worry about the rising megastar."
Let me talk to you.
Let me
Oh
talk
my
to
goodness.
It's a
Yeah.
BFT for everyone.
Yes, sir.
I knew someone was gonna pick him, bro.
I had to.
I was like, who's gonna pick him?
I have to.
He's one of my favorites nowadays.
He's amazing.
Yes,
LA
sir.
Knight's great.
And he's only gonna get better from here when he gets a freaking belt around his waist.
Oh my god, that'll be amazing.
All right, so the last letter of this
Wait,
session.
hold on.
Okay.
Can we actually stop at N just because I'm curious to see who y'all got?
And yeah, we could do that. All
I
right.
just want to see who y'all got. So let's stop at N.
All right. Cool.
Oh,
so
yeah, I'm
two
down
more.
with that.
All right, Kuhn, kick us off with the
Alright.
M's.
I have the best wrestler in the world, bro. MJF.
Okay.
It's not even a competition. It was very easy. I mean,
I mean,
anything
look at Kai's
MJF
shirt.
does is entertaining, bro. Yeah. look at
Yeah.
Kai's shirt. I've never not been entertained watching MJF. He has put on banger after banger after banger. Every match I watch of MJF is just a banger. It's the same thing as like Gunther. Every match I watch is a banger.
Mm-hmm.
His match with Bryan Danielson that went 60 minutes past the time limit. My favorite match in AEW. Fucking heel MJF was peak. Face MJF was peak. All of this is peak.
Mm-hmm. You know what they say?
Fucking, when he plays to the crowd with the fucking like selling the clothes,
Yeah.
or selling the goddamn
The
kangaroo bro.
kick. Yeah.
Kangaroo kick is godly.
1,
I just-
2, 3.
Haven't you heard
Double
the promo?
clothesline.
He said no more kangaroo kicks, no more bullshit.
Yeah.
Freaking godly. Even like I'm entertained watching his after like his interview. Like that's just he carries himself so well. He is always entertaining. And MJF is one of the best in the world, in my opinion.
What's the ring that he has? What's that called?
The Dynamite
The
Diamond Ring.
Yeah, to see him incorporate that too, like after he defends it every year, is pretty cool.
He's the 5-time Dynamite Diamond Ring champion.
Yeah. You know what they
Seeing him go
say?
from being a heel of Wardlow to being the face, main eventing one of the biggest pay-per-views ever, was amazing.
The biggest pay-per-view
Yeah,
ever.
the biggest pay-per-view
Yeah.
ever.
And
It was so surreal too.
even when he was heel, every time they were in New York though, to see him get that reaction as a face was kind of cool, even though
Yeah.
he's the bad guy. Yeah, you know what they say about MJF, Kai? He's better than you.
Oh,
And
you know it.
You know it. Did he says gonna go to the most magical place in the world,
Yeah.
Long Island, New York. I mean,
Yeah,
y'all
it was
can't be
It
shocked.
was the easy decision.
Like, there it is.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Here it is.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's an easy choice, man. He's so damn good.
Did we sweep or did you go?
We
different far?
We did not sweep. So
He went Miz.
I did not go Miz either. I'm not gonna lie. Thought about it. MJF was my honorable mention, but I actually go ahead. Do you want to guess?
It's just MJF. The one thing I feel like we didn't touch on is just his mic skills, bro. Like,
Yeah.
for me, I always just go back to him and CM Punk or word. Then I always go back to him cursing out Tony Khan, like, and he's like, I'll go to the other company. And then, or I think about, you guys know the promo where he's backstage and he's telling a story about like his high school prom or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, I got the drop top Camaro, I got to the driver, and she got to the. Like, MJF is hilarious, bro.
You know that segment with CM Punk, I watch it a bunch of times because it's so good. It's Thanksgiving, I believe, and
then I love the WWE references they drop when he tells them like he's just another, like, he's a copy of Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect these days, and
I
Punk's
love those.
Him a less famous Miz, and then the one thing I love about MJF too, for the first time in I don't know how long, it feels like we actually have a future in wrestling. MJF is in his 20s. Like, a lot of times we'll be like, this guy's the face of AEW, or this guy's the new face of WWE. We look, they're fucking 50 years old. How are you the future of the company? You're 50 years old. MJF is actually in his 20s. Like, he's going to be the face of wrestling for a long time.
Yeah.
I think MJF will be the guy. I think MJF is going to be like the Cena of the AEW, or like, you know, that type of caliber for the AEW. He's on the Mount Rushmore.
He's one of the 4 pillars for a reason.
Yeah, if you're ever bored, go look at some of the cameos he's made.
Yo, his cameos are great.
Just think, somebody paid $500 for that.
Everything he does, bro, amazing.
I've watched the compilation.
Did you see the one cameo where the girlfriend was like wishing her boyfriend happy birthday? He goes, apparently it's your boyfriend's fucking birthday today. Like,
he literally goes, I don't really fucking care.
Yeah.
But I guess happy birthday, dude.
The one with the kid in the wheelchair too at the autograph signing when he's talking shit to him the whole time. He's like, "Look at me, I can do this," and it's like, no one could get away with that except for MJF because that's just how he is, you know. That's his character, and the people love that shit.
Sits at the podium, do his talk with the media, grabs a water bottle, just throws it all.
Yeah.
MJF is great, bro.
I remember when he had that jar of pickles after.
Yeah.
Like, these are some damn good pickles. You want some?
Yeah,
that's like, come here and get a pickle. Dude, like, he's you know, the World Championship run was great. Like, all his matches, just the Danielson match. Remember he fought Kenny on Collision.
Yep.
That was like the one time that I sat and watched all of Collision. Because I was like, yo, you're giving me MJF and Kenny? Like, I gotta see this. Like,
just there's not enough you can say about him, man.
He beat Mox for the belt, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, when he beat Mox, like, it just definitely feels like, you know, like was said, he's the future.
Yeah.
It seems like he's gonna be the future for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
AEW kind of feels like right now they're like WWE's white hot, and AEW feels like they're very not white hot. It feels like MJF coming back, like just gave him a kick, just him
Yeah,
being
so
there.
it's weird. It's weird. I feel like we was at a point where it was like WWE and AEW was really in competition. Where now I feel like WWE is. I feel like now the way it is with Triple H cooking, it's like AEW would never
Mhm.
reach that status, but with them getting MJF back, it puts them back in the conversation.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah. I was gonna say, there's no touch in WWE right now where they're white hot, but it felt like AEW is kind of in a stagnant spot. Whereas
And
now with MJF coming back, it's like, oh, they have that guy that can carry him again.
what's crazy is like I feel like deep down, I feel like I've never thought like as much as I wanted MJF in WWE, I feel like I never thought he was gonna leave AEW. But it's like with all of the talent that WWE has, everyone was still just like, oh, we need MJF and WWE, we need MJF. That just goes to show how much star power he has. Like
the thing with AEW for me is they have a lot of good things going for them. Like Tony Storm's stuff is top tier. Jack Perry right now is white hot, but overall AEW, there's certain
Ride the
segments.
Swerve.
Yeah, Swerve's been doing great, right? But there's just the mid carder. There's like gaps in it to where it's just not at WWE's level. Where when you watch WWE right now, there's just interesting stuff all around. You got LA Knight, you've got Gunther, you've got Nia Jax now, you got Cody Rhodes, you got the whole world heavyweight title scene. Like, who's gonna be the world champion in a couple
yeah,
weeks,
then
right?
you didn't even mention the things you have going on where you have like Jay Uso is on fire right now.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Jey Uso right now.
AEW, I think, suffered from a lot of injuries. Kenny Omega, MJF, Adam Cole at the height of the devil stuff, right?
AEW has a lot of talent, but
Yeah.
they're very top heavy.
Exactly, and they're not using them.
Well, they're top heavy and they never want to pin anybody.
Yeah. Well, they used to be the opposite. They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
They pinned everybody. No disqualifications
Well,
were
it's
ever
like,
a thing. So
It's like you could look at a card and you could tell who's gonna win 90% of the matches.
yeah. Where WWE at the time was doing the stupid 50-50 booking. So you knew that whoever won this week was probably going to lose next week. Whereas in AEW,
Well,
someone was
also
going to
when AEW came around too, like they were fresh and new,
mm-hmm.
whereas WWE still had Vince there,
Yeah.
and it was
Bad.
very unwatchable.
But again,
Yeah,
WWE is kind of just trending upwards, where I think AEW is kind of going stagnant. I don't think they're on the downhill. I think they're just they're doing their thing.
They're
Right.
consistent. I feel like I view it like this: WWE right now is great, where AEW is kind of just consistently good.
Their pay-per-views are I still watch every single pay-per-view of
I don't think
AEW is
AEW
really good.
sucks,
You
bro. I
know?
don't think it's
Oh, yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
It's WWE's on fire right now.
And hopefully with MJF coming back, I don't think Adam Cole's ready yet, but when he comes back, that's a nice lift. If Kenny's ever able to come back, that's another
I mean,
lift.
they're
So
they're running. I don't know if it'll be at the pay-per-view or on TV, but they're running MJF and Roosh. Like they set that up on TV.
and they have a lot of got the CMLL stuff going, Ring of Honor, all that kind of stuff. So they have some really good collabs. But at the end of the day, the other thing that I wanted to bring up about MJF is him and CM Punk. That's Thanksgiving Day promo when they started talking to each other. That could have made or break him, because you're talking about someone who's known for being one of the best ever on the mic in CM Punk. And that was MJF's, I think, defining moment. Yeah, he's talked down to these people and he's beat these guys in a war of words, but how do you go up against CM Punk? And I think that promo he did better than CM Punk. There were some other ones that CM Punk did better, but he beat him on that first one and told the world, this is the future.
That was his, I'm here moment.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And that made him into the star that he was. And that whole story with Wardlow and the Dynamite Diamond Ring and everything like that with CM Punk, I mean, that was his...
For me, I've said earlier, my common trend with this list is a lot of it WWE guys, because I'm not a big wrestling fanatic. I like wrestling. I keep up with wrestling. I try to keep up with other companies. But I've mainly been a WWE guy. At first, like I said, AEW had so much talent, so many guys I liked. But MJF for me was the one where I'm really I'm paying attention to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
he still feels like the most special out of all of them.
Yeah.
He is.
I remember I hated
There's
him.
a lot of people on the WWE.
Yeah.
Like he just has that aura.
I hated him the first year, and these
Oh,
guys
you
went
did.
nuts.
You fucking
Yep, I hated
him.
him.
Look-
And then all of a sudden I was
You
like,
look
I
at it,
respect
they
him.
like
Fucking salt of
they
the earth.
notice he didn't like set up anything this week on Dynamite. He was at the pay-per-view, and then they weren't there. Instead, they waited and they advertised him for next week.
Mm-hmm.
I remember me and Caleb rooting him on as you were like, no, this is
No.
a war.
Well, I really hated that he was winning matches with an arm bar, the salt of the earth.
It was
Because
amazing.
I didn't like it because it didn't really like show the people what he could do. Now it's like when he's doing stuff like the kangaroo kick and the double clothesline and stuff,
Kangaroo
and you
kick
get
was
that
not
shit
good.
over, like that was over. I really like that, and I'm ready to see what he's got in store for us now. So,
And not to mention, he lost the belt to our boy.
yeah, he sure did.
When he
Samoa
dropped
Joe.
it.
Oh,
My boy
So-
Samoa Joe.
Yeah,
So-
my boy Samoa Joe.
so my answer is actually different. It's a big reason why. Such a
Oh, did you want us to guess?
if you want to guess, you can. Yeah,
Moxley.
it is not Moxley.
I don't think he likes Mox very much.
No, I
think
do.
he
I
likes
didn't
that.
like Dean Ambrose. I love John
Fair
Moxley.
enough.
God.
I don't know.
I'm out of guess.
M
I'm outta
name
guessing.
Maurice.
It's not Maurice, and it's
I
not.
didn't
I was-
know any
I'm
M names off the
surprised.
head of my head.
It's
Maybe
actually it is a woman though. It is Mickey James. Because-
Yo, I
Wow,
was-
that makes
yeah.
sense.
She
That's a
I was
good
gonna
shout.
put her- I was gonna put her on my honorable mentions.
Yeah, she is. I remember seeing her for the first time with Trish Stratus, and the stuff with her and that crazy girl stuff was so good. The WrestleMania match that they had was amazing. It's still funny because you go back, she does this tot with her fingers, a very sexual gesture, and they've taken it out of like the playbacks and stuff. But yeah, she was so good then. Then she had a run in TNA, which was really good. Like I said, the Knockouts division was on the up and up back then. She helped define that. She came back to WWE, and I was so excited to see her there, pulling off some more stuff. And then when she left and the whole trash bag thing happened, I was like, oh, TNA's gonna,
Oh.
Impact's gonna do something with her. And she did,
And
and
they
she won
did.
the world title. And then when she came out at the Royal Rumble with the Impact title on, like the first time that Impact was ever really mentioned on WWE, and she came out that belt, I cried. I have a tear in my eye right now as I'm saying this because that was such a big deal. Like I feel like it didn't get talked about enough that somebody from another company who's a champion is here in WWE, and she put on a
Didn't she
show.
come out like really early too, wasn't she? Like, one of the
Yeah,
first
she was
entrants?
very early. Not as early as Jordan Grace, but she was still early. I think it's just like 8 or 9 or something like that. But to see her out there like that was amazing. Her TNA run or Impact run as champion was great. It's so sad that it
Remember
came at the
when I
end.
was, remember how sad I was because we had to watch my girl Deanna lose?
Yes.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, Deanna lost? What is this?
On the tip of my tongue, I can't remember, but she had, I think it was the last rodeo actually it was called, where if she lost,
Where she lost.
she would have to retire, and then she ended up winning the title, which was great. And then it's sad because her run came to an end because of an injury, which was at the same exact time as Josh Alexander having to forfeit the title. So both the world champions had to forfeit, but she has kind of come back. I think she came back for like a one-off not too long ago. But anyway, Mickey
She
James.
was doing NWA for a while.
Yeah, she
too.
did. She was doing stuff with them, like as like a figurehead, behind the scenes kind of stuff. So, but she's just done so much. She's one of the people that was an actual women's wrestler during the times that WWE wasn't promoting that stuff, and she's had an amazing career. And I had to shout her out. So, Mickey James is my pick. So. All right, to the last of today's session. It's the
So-
ends.
I couldn't really think of an end name that I was satisfied with. And it's
Could've-
funny that you mentioned
No,
Mickey
actually,
James, because I actually wrote down Nick
Nick
Aldis.
Aldis, let's go. Former
Yeah,
NWA World
he-
Champion.
Dude, yeah, he carried NWA during that reign. NWA did not have a whole lot going for it
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't want to leave. Like, you know, he was offered contracts, and he was like, "No, I'll chilling here in the NWA."
Mm-hmm.
And he had a very, very long reign, very good reign. Put the company on his back.
Former
His
TNA
work
World
in,
Heavyweight
yeah, I was
Champion.
gonna say
too,
his
man.
work in TNA as Magnus was awesome. Very good in the ring. I'm hoping we'll see him in the ring at WWE at some point, maybe.
Mhm.
Even as an on-screen authority figure, he's
I
good at what
love
he
him
does.
as GM.
I do too.
Oh
I love
my
him as GM
God.
as well. I
So
couldn't
good.
think of, because all the other games, like I was like Nick Wayne, I was like, but he's hardly done anything. He's just now
Yeah.
come around. Like the ends that I thought of, I was like, I wasn't satisfied. So I was like, well, Nick Aldis was like nice long career, been world champion everywhere he's been.
It's funny because I
And, you
brought
know-
up the fact that the 2 titles had to be relinquished. He showed up on that pay-per-view sacrifice, I think it was, and he
Yeah, I
came
was
back
gonna say,
as
he
Nick
even-
Aldis, not as Magnus, and that was
He
awesome.
even had a run where he fought for the world title.
Yeah, and that was a great
Was-
short
Did he?
stint.
Did he?
It
Was Eric
against-
Young the champion, or
No,
was it Alexander?
it was Steve Macklin.
It was
'cause he had to-
Macklin? And then
yeah,
he
the
fought
vacant.
Eric Young afterwards.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then he left. Okay.
Because it was the vacant title, and Steve Macklin won it, and then Nick Aldis showed up, which
Yeah,
was cool.
Nick
so.
Aldis is awesome. It was an end name that I was very happy to come
I like
up
that
with.
pick.
And
So, I'm gonna go next. For me, I struggled too. I'm sitting there like, who in the hell even starts with N? So then I'm like, you know what? Let me go back, reflect. Whenever I got stuck, I always thought about my childhood, where it was like those random jobbers and stuff like that. And then I
Shout out to
stumbled
the
across.
jobbers.
It's funny because it's actually not a jobber, but like I stumbled across like early, childhood crush favorite, Nikki Bella, man. Shout out Nikki
Nice.
Bella.
Mhm.
She had a nice little Divas Championship run.
he was the longest reigning Divas champion, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. She had a nice Divas champ, and I believed it came short because she got hurt,
Yeah, she
I
had
believe
broke
that's
her
why
neck,
he
I
did see it.
think.
broke her neck.
Yep.
And then it was weird because I had like such a childhood crush on Nikki on the Bella Twins, where it was like I found myself for a point of time like watching Total Divas and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then her dating John Cena, like that was another way for me to see John Cena in different light, him being on her show and stuff like that. Hold on, I don't know if you guys can see. I actually met the Bella Twins in person as a child.
Move it to your left.
This way.
Yeah, there
You
you
guys
go.
see-
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
heck
nice.
yeah.
I actually met them in person when I was like 12, so that was pretty cool.
See,
So
I was
shout
gonna
out,
say they did as much out of the ring as they've done in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, really. So shout out Nikki Bella, man.
That is
Happy for her. She finally got her husband and children.
yeah. I mean, it made for good TV though.
Dude. I just always think of their banger theme song.
You can look, but
Yeah,
you can't touch.
Yup. That song was a banger. Not Bree's song. That one was not.
Oh,
great,
Bree's
but-
I loved Brie mode. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know
It
why.
wasn't for me, man. But
Fucking-
their joint theme, the you can look but you can't touch. I thought that theme was a banger.
I loved Brie Bella's theme song, and I would sit there and be like, dude, it just repeats itself every 30 seconds. Why do I like this? And I would still jam to it. I don't know why. But yeah,
It
both
would
of them.
it would literally just
Brie mode.
over and over again.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty weird. But I actually also went with Nikki Bella because I was thinking about it, and I'm like, honestly, Nikki Bella carried the Divas division for a long
She did.
time.
She did.
Like, she was kind of like the John Cena of the women's division, which was ironic because they were both dating. But
She was another one of her time.
yeah.
wrestling-wise.
I think what was one of the biggest reasons I actually picked her too is when I went back and I thought about the Royal Rumble. I think it was the very first one or the second one, and she was the last person eliminated. And I was thinking to myself, and I was like, I kind of hope she wins, because now that the women's division has kind of gone up, like, I want to see Nikki Bella in that situation now. And I feel like we don't really appreciate what she did during her time period. They call it the reality era or something like that, I think, on
Yeah, the reality
Wikipedia,
era.
right? But her and Brie were just over. And like I watched Total Divas because of them, and then I watched it because of Paige, and like all the other women were starting to be on there more often. But like the things that the Bella twins did, especially Nikki Bella with the title belt, the Divas title, and everything, like the women's evolution is because of them, in the sense of like the competition needed to get better, but all the stuff that they did, I was really happy to kind of put her on my list. There weren't a lot of ends in the first place, which was surprising. I thought that would be a little bit more hard, or difficult. But the Bella twins, especially Nikki Bella, were definitely great for their time period. So
See, I was gonna say all the ends I could think of was like, well, I don't want to put that.
yeah,
Like,
I actually,
actually didn't think of Nikki Bella.
You guys know who I had originally before I put Nikki Bella?
who?
I had Nikita Lyons.
You know, I just thought of one that I'll shout out. Nigel McGuinness.
Mm.
I just thought of that, and I was like, I probably would have put that had I thought of him at the time.
2 fun facts too. I was actually at the SummerSlam when Nikki Bella made her return. I think from that neck injury, they had like a surprise person come out, and it was Nikki Bella, and I actually was excited for that. And the WrestleMania 33 that I went to was the one where it was her and John Cena versus The Miz and Maurice, and they proposed everything. I thought that was cool. I know in hindsight it didn't work out, but like to have that moment was still really cool. And the fact that they kind of like combined their 2 reality shows together to make that feud, I thought was
Bro,
really cool.
When I was a kid, I used to have that like macho man ego mindset where I'm watching like, bro, John Cena got this girl in check.
Yeah. I don't think half the things that happened in there were real, but then at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. John Cena could definitely be a stickler like that, bro.
I could definitely see all of that stuff being real.
Dude, that clip where she makes him dinner and he's just like, you used my dishes? Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna clean them up. Blah, blah, blah. He's just like so not happy about.
He's like, I told you to decide what's for dinner, not cooking dinner.
Yeah, I was like, yo. Oh.
He was laying that law down.
Yeah. All right, Kuhn.
Like, I will say.
Oh no, go ahead.
He had like rules for the
yeah,
dog and
yo, he had rules for
Total
Daniel
Bella.
Bryan and fucking Brie Bella too. This shit was so funny.
Coming off of Queen of the Ring, I wouldn't have been surprised if someone wrote Nia Jax.
Yeah, honestly, I thought about putting her down, but I hated
And then,
her first
when
run too much to put her in.
I was gonna say, when I think about it, there were others for in that I could have used.
I thought of Naomi too.
I didn't even think of Naomi.
I almost put her. I'll tell you right now, I did not put her for T. I almost put her down because I loved her TNA run, but I hated Naomi her first run. The fucking rear end pissed me off so much. I could not. I was like, if I put that, I'm just bandwagoning. I can't do that. I can't.
I've heard you, Kuhn, and Mook all complain about the
Yes.
rear end before.
Yeah. I remember she won the title, the SmackDown title at WrestleMania 33. She beat Alexa Bliss. It was like a 6-woman thing, and I was not happy. I was so pissed that I was here to see her win, but like obviously times have changed.
I'm not gonna lie, I've always hated the neon glow though. Always.
Really? That's the thing I like about her.
Yeah, same.
Feel the glow.
I think the glow entrance. I think they've upgraded the glow entrance since she's returned.
Mm-hmm. And she did.
I don't know. For me, watching on TV, that shit hurts your eyes, and it just reminds me of like a little kid night party or something.
All right, Kuhn.
Always
Round us out here.
remember them with Brodus Clay.
Yep, the Funkadactyls.
The Funkadactyls.
Yep.
Oh god, I hit my thing on the ground. Hold on.
Or that's Kuhn's boy Tyrus.
Ugh.
Irish worldwide. Okay, well, the man I'm about to say is the most underrated, underappreciated, bestseller ever.
He's going to TNA guy.
That's who I was going to say too, but
and has the best cash. I don't care. Best cashing ever.
Yeah. Let's go and
nickname is baby. That is my boy. His stuff that he had with AJ Lee and Big E when he cashed in, amazing. His on the mic skill, his fucking "it should have been me" promo.
Mm-hmm.
He's always putting people over. He sells everything like it's the best thing ever? He is the single-handedly best person you would want to work with if you went into WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what anyone says. He deserved to have another chance at a title run.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he didn't put Dolph Ziggler at D, we should have
Yeah.
known.
And
Yeah.
now he's reinvented himself in TNA, the most wanted man. And I'm fucking here for it. I want nothing but goodness for him because
You see, I
he
was
is
gonna
one
put
of
him-
my favorites of all time. Always will be. And goddamn, I love Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Man, you see, I was gonna put Nick Nemeth, but I felt like I couldn't be like Nick Nemeth and just explain why I loved him in WWE.
Yeah, all the Dolph Ziggler stuff. Yeah.
Well, you know, when he left, Kuhn said he wanted to see Nick and Ryan Nemeth. And I said,
Yeah, and they are now.
that they're
Yep.
fighting.
They
Yeah,
are
they're the
tag
Ziggles.
teaming. The Ziggler.
Ziggles.
They
And,
are
and
indeed.
he's already told me what the finish is gonna be. He was like, "Oh, Eddie Edwards eats the pin because Brian Myers isn't enough of a god to hold off 2 other gods."
Yeah, he I believe right now he's the AAA Mega Champion
is.
too. He's the
He's
He
world.
doing
beat
great.
Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, so he's technically world
Again?
champion.
Dude,
There you go.
That's not the first time he's beaten.
Yep, it's not the
Yeah.
first time he's beat Del Rio for a championship.
dude, I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
I fucking love him, man.
I always lose my shit when I hear him come out, and this is that beginning blurb where he goes, "Oh my god."
Yeah, it's amazing.
It makes me laugh so hard when I hear
He
it.
is
Yeah.
just so fucking good. I cannot speak enough about how good he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
He is on my top 5 for sure.
I went back and watched it. His match with Moose for the TNA World Title. That match was awesome.
I'm a little shocked that he didn't win, but I think there's bigger plans for that title. Where Nick Nemeth he's been doing New Japan, AAA, and TNA. If they're doing this WWE crossover, they probably need somebody that's gonna be there.
I was
Like right now,
sad. I was sad that he already dropped the New Japan title.
Yeah, I forgot he
Also,
won that too.
I think it's godly that we got broken Matt Hardy and Nick Nemeth interaction.
Yeah,
That was amazing.
yeah.
The
That was
main
like,
event of the
'cause I
last
love
show
Matt
was-
Hardy too. And broken Matt
was-
Hardy is amazing.
Was Ryan Nemeth and Matt Hardy against the tag champs,
Yeah.
and Ryan Nemeth got the pin.
I'm so happy to see him doing good, man. It's so good. Because he was just eating pin after pin after pin in WWE. It just got sickening to watch.
Yeah.
No, it's cool to see him out there eating,
But yeah.
and you know his. I love the theme he's made too. That theme's awesome.
Yeah.
Except for, like I said, the "Oh my god" just kills me when I hear it.
Oh, and I didn't do my honorable mention. Actually, no, never mind. I forgot. That's a different story.
Gotcha.
Kuhn's
But,
honorable
yeah.
mention: New Jack.
Nickname it Dolph Ziggler, whatever you want to call him. God.
I mean, technically, his name was Nicky in the Spirit Squad, so
Was
it's
he
so
Nicky?
he was Nicky
Yeah,
in the Spirit
I-
Squad, so it works.
I can like tell you there was a Kenny, a Nicky. I couldn't tell you the other ones.
Mikey.
Maybe a Johnny,
As Mikey is another one.
Mikey.
Ending on him is amazing. You know?
I agree.
Perfect.
All right, well, that's the end of half of our list. So we still have another half to go. We'll end it here so the people can get some sleep. If you liked this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on so you can see when the next part goes live, and then any of the other wrestling stuff that we got going on. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us with this.
Thanks for having me,
Of
bro.
course, man. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Yep, please sub. Right there. There you go.
Deuces.
Peace.
Deuces.